Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 70 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by my utensil-loving brother, Lord Cognito.
Hey, Matty, we've been at odds, and Twitter's been hot.
Yeah, Twitter has been hot. We've gotten people involved that I never expected. I saw Hogue get involved. Ebontis was involved. Ty Guy Travis got involved. Everyone's getting in on this.
Everyone's getting a shout out to Bill Stillwell.
Oh, he got in on it too? Oh,
yeah,
no.
Bro, it is.
We're reaching far and wide. Oh.
Yeah. We've created a thing. So salute to everybody. Fork versus Spoon DD was super lit. Spork and DD was super lit. Mm-hmm. And we got some other things to discuss as we iron out the Duke's got to iron out these food issues.
Yes. I mean, this is no exaggeration that... Yeah, of course. We're also a gaming show, by the way, but you would not think so. When I was making the script, I saw we had a ton of write-ins. I was like, oh, nice. Like, I was thinking last week, same thing. Like, all right, let's comb through this. It's going to be an easy script. Dude, they were all food takes. I was like, oh, no, what have we done? No one cares about our gaming opinions anymore.
Yeah. We opened Pandora's box.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate you. As always, our shows go live on patreon.com/laststandmedia, where you get early access on Thursdays. If you want to listen for free, we're available on Sundays on all podcasting platforms, including YouTube, youtube.com/laststandmedia. But if you are a patron, you get access to DDU, Defining Duke Ultimate, our supplemental show, where Cog and I settled our differences in another area. We talked about the physical games versus the digital media and where we lie as an industry. And this is branching off of our number one news story for this week, talking about Square Enix and the Embracer Group and how Square Enix is pursuing NFTs, blockchain. And we thought, let's talk about physical games and where our industry may be in 5 years. So, Cog, we sat down, we had a one-on-one chat. You were team digital, I was team physical, but I felt like we did a good job meeting in the middle compared to the fork versus spoon debate.
Yeah, I think it was one of those moments where we broke down our side, but we were completely empathetic and understand the other side. Yeah. And I think we really painted a good picture almost. I really enjoyed that show. I really enjoyed that Ultimate. Yeah. It was we hit it from a lot of angles. Again, get up on that LSM Patreon. I told you, Ultimate is what it is. I keep telling y'all, man. Like it's some really powerful discussions. And I think we did a fantastic job, if I must say so.
I would agree. Anyway, let's get into video games. As I said, this is a video game podcast. Let's talk about some things before we begin with the write-ins and things really go off the rails. First and foremost, Halo Infinite Season 2 is out now. Have you had a chance to check this out?
Yes, we'll discuss in Gamesplay.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. I played a little bit as well. So we'll talk about it there. Mm-hmm. But for those who are unaware, it's out now. 2 new maps, couple new modes, new battle pass. Shout out to Xbox. They actually sent me a battle pass credits code. So I opened up. I was going to buy it, but they provided. So thank you to them. But just for full disclosure for our audience, another little tidbit here that will have long-standing ramifications unless you're a Series S owner. Intel CEO is predicting that shortages will last until 2024 now. Obviously, this will impact the availability of things like the Series X as well as the PS5. So how are you feeling about this one, Cog?
Very shocked. I've never seen a generation like that. And I know the climate's different and the pandemic, but man, I thought we'd be through with this. 2024, another year of scarcity, another year of scalpers and the foolishness. It's really, I've never seen a generation like this. And I've been around where it's this difficult to still get your hands on a console. It's unfortunate. I was hoping this would be the year we finally push this to bed, but it is what it is.
Indeed. And so that means with less consoles getting out there and less people able to buy them, I feel some developers are going to be more reluctant to make that full commitment to current gen consoles. And so we're going to continue to refer to it as next gen consoles for much longer than other generations. So little update on that. Also, Jeff Grubb has reported that Jedi Fallen Order 2, unlike some other games out there, will be exclusive to current gen consoles, being the Series X, as well as the PS5. Are you excited for this one?
Yeah. The first one was fantastic. I feel Respawn hasn't made a whack game yet. Shout out to the team over there. And I'm always push the technology forward guy. I want to see it, Now, granted, if, I'm not going to say, hey, you guys can't play it. But if the decisions by the team, the next gen only, I want to see what they can push, So let's do it.
Absolutely. Last one. This one is this is one we called back in October when the game was coming out, and it it appears it's a little too late for us to say, hey, we got this one. But given the catastrophe surrounding Battlefield 2042, it appears now it's likely heading to Xbox Game Pass. It has a included with EA Play stamp on it. There was also a Xbox Game Pass logo on it found on the Xbox storefront. This would make sense given their depleted player count that they need to do something to give it a spike. I don't know if it's actually going to be saved, but expect this to be on Game Pass probably within the next couple of months. You'll see it.
Yeah, it's about damn time.
Yeah.
Here's
the thing, though. I never take these for granted because I think of Judgment. Remember when Judgment had Xbox themselves posted the main character's name and called attention to it, crossed it out, like saying, oh, yeah, we're bringing Judgment to Game Pass, but I don't think they ever did that.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So,
EA's different though. I think this is coming.
Yeah,
they're limping in. They're beat up. The knee has been bent. You know what you got to do. Get your numbers up and hopefully come out with an expansion or something to really give everybody the features in the Battlefield they deserve.
Absolutely. All right, just a couple of notes there before we get into the questions. Now, let's talk with the audience. Not Skywalker writes in, Dear Dukes, writing in to hype up a recent Xbox console exclusive release that, for whatever reason, Xbox themselves have not been promoting, Rogue Legacy 2. It is superb. Just came out of early access, and it is $20 to $25 on Xbox right now. I believe it's sitting at an 89 OpenCritic score to boot. I know a 1.0 release may not feel as important as a brand new novel release, but don't we think Xbox could have done a bit more to promote games from devs they partner with? Have y'all gave this title a shot? Cheers, and have a I just realized my job is a roguelite. I can never win kind of day. Thank you for writing in. This is one that I remember playing the first one on the Vita. I like this game a lot because it was really cool where when you died, like you would pass down your buffs and debuffs to like your lineage. And it had like a really cool mechanic like that. I didn't even know a sequel was around. I'm gonna be real with you, but
I just found out from my boy Kai Batsu. We were in a party like 2 days ago, and he's playing it, and he's like, "Oh man, he brought it back. This is how much I love." I was like, "Yo, I didn't even know 2 was coming up." So it goes to Not Skywalker's point, where it's like, I didn't really hear much about this game, so it was kind of weird to me. And I feel like, do you feel like it's a little bit of a pattern sometimes with the Xbox exclusives that are not in Game Pass?
Yeah, like Legend of Right is another one that it's a little more kid-centric. I think all the more reason to push it, by the way, but RPG Time, A Legend of Right is a game that looks phenomenal. I still got to play it, but that one also didn't get a push from Xbox, and that looked super unique, and the reviews for that were also quite good. So yeah, there is definitely a difference in their level of push for day one Game Pass and you just a console exclusive. Outside of Death's Door. Death's Door found a way.
Yeah, Death's Door found a way. That is a good point.
All right, Benji Bop is up next. Howdy, Duke boys. I just wanted to write in and thank you both for how insightful y'all are with how you dissect, and analyze rumors. I wanted to throw in some nice stuff here, Cog, because we're going to get torn apart as we go through this show. He says, special props to Matty for clarifying these latest Starfield rumors. The fact that you can pinpoint how fake these rumors can stem back to a grain of truth told in the Starfield dev diary with the timestamps is the kind of knowledge you can't fake. Thanks, and have a this guy just called me out on my bullshit and brought the receipts kind of day. I don't wear this shirt for nothing, man. This is here for a reason.
Let them know. Let them know. That's right, baby. Get excited.
Oh, yeah. This one's a really sweet write-in I wanted to highlight. Randy Scott Heisen Jr. writes in, I just wanted to thank Cog and Matty. The past few months, my mother has been going through treatment for lung cancer. I am with her every step, every visit, treatment, and long drive to appointments. Your podcast specifically have helped keep our minds from focusing solely on the situation and helped us find some source of comfort and escape from it all. So I just wanted to say thank you from me and my mother for the effort, love, and passion you put into the content. It's really helped us. I hope you have be proud of yourselves because what you do really matters and goes beyond just gaming content and makes the world a better place type of day.
Wow.
Yes, that is probably their most powerful writing yet. That was like
Yeah.
I was like kind of tearing up when I read it
Yeah.
at first. I was like, yo, damn.
Yeah.
That's the things. These are the things we need to hear sometimes, right? To shrink the conversation about like what's going on with Starfield. It's like, you know, just sometimes us bitching and moaning about utensils has a positive impact. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It goes to show you, man. It hits you in the feels, and sometimes the little things that you do, it really resonates with people, and they hear that type of story, right? It's just like, man, it makes us feel good about what we're doing. So salute to Randy, salute to his mom. I hope everything works okay with the situation. And yeah, man, those get you emotional. We really any comfort we could provide with our silliness and just having fun, we really appreciate it. So salute.
Actually, Randy, do me a favor. My email is on my YouTube channel page. It's also my Twitter bio. If you'd like to reach out, I'm going to talk to Colin and see if we can get you some merch. If you're interested, we don't want to force it on you, but if you're interested, we'll hook you up. We appreciate you writing in like this, and we wish your mother the very best as well as you. Let's speak with Brendan Benton, who writes in, "Hey, Dukes, love you both. And as someone who was skeptical of a non-Colin show on the fold in the fold for a long time, I'm glad I took the plunge when I was mowing the yard. You guys rock. I wanted to give you guys your roses. With that, I don't want to see my dads fight about how they eat mac and cheese. So I pose a question to you guys. What are your thoughts on the spork? It's the utensil for all occasions, as there is nothing you can't eat with it. By far the best utensil, but I needed to get the Duke's thoughts on this long-forgotten eatery device. Thanks for the great show, and I poured a giant bowl of cereal only to find clean forks kind of day."
Yo, Brandon. All right, let's break it down.
Let's talk about the spork.
The spork. All right, this is my thoughts on the spork. Yes, in theory, it is the happy medium. This is where we should meet in the middle, right? Fork and spoon, from the circumference area of the scoop, and still a little bit of poke action. Okay, cool. But there's just a level of lack of class if you pull up with the spork, in my opinion.
It's very childish.
Yes, it's very McDonald's KFC utensil-y in the package with the napkin.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, this is what we got. Here, go eat.
Like, don't want to give you 2 utensils. I think it was made by these big corporations, right? Just to like give you 1 utensil instead of 2, save a little money.
They like, look, let's save money. We run it out. It's like a chipset. We run it out of chipset or fork. We run it out of chipset.
Yeah.
So here's this happy medium. You're gonna like it. And again, it just doesn't have the pristine nature of the silver spoon and the silver fork. It's not pristine. That's all I'm saying. Now, it does do the job, so to speak. But the worst thing about the spork, and I'll let you go, is I've had spork straight break on me. Like, you try to get in on something and it just pop, and I'm like, I can't. This is not the premium experience. But anyway, that's just me.
You should check the video I just dropped in the Defining Duke chat, just because that is a scary looking combination that I feel like is best set for people's eyes, and I don't want to describe it any further. But the spork for me, I agree with you. It's a little bit childish, but there's no denying that the spork is like 90% spoon. Like, you can't really stab with the spork, right? Because the long prongs of the fork are what makes it a successful utensil, right? It's what differentiates it. Now, I do respect these big corporations mixing the utensils together. If they attached a little, like, on one of the curves of the spoon as a part of the spork, you attach like a knife, we wouldn't have to have this argument anymore. We would have 1 utensil at the dish. You make the prongs a little bit longer.
Okay.
Right?
Break this down
it's
for
almost,
me.
I would call it the forklift at a certain point in time. That's what I would do. I think we get the $1 million idea here. I'm not even being facetious. I really think if we took this and we ran to these companies and said, here's the forklift, and we put that in front of them, a long fork attached to a spoon like a spork, but a little bit longer so they could prong or scoop. If you scoop, it rides down the fork into the spoon cup, and then you could just turn it sideways and you could cut. Don't look at me like that. You know them, right?
Manny, we gotta have an intervention. This is wait. So we're gonna combine two. We're gonna have this big contraption.
Yeah.
We're doing 3.
Yeah,
my God, this guy, he's out of control. He must be stopped, y'all. This is out of control.
Don't worry. This next one's coming for me. Then you're up next after this.
Let's go.
All right. Wombologist81 writes, "Hello, my Duke daddies. This is primarily directed towards Matty and his repeated slander of Horizon Forbidden West. I cannot simply stand by and let you refer to it as just another open world game any longer. I know Elden Ring is so exceptional that it's easy to overlook similar games that aren't quite as good, but the narrative and world of Horizon Forbidden West are amazing and should not be shoved off. I recommend playing with the custom HUD to remove the clutter and save the tall necks for last when exploring an area to really take it all in. You and I have very similar tastes in games, and I even eat mac and cheese with a spoon, so I really think you should give the game a try. I kid you not, I will give it a try because of this. I need to stand by my brethren. All my spoon eaters need to know we're together in this. I'll play. I do want to play this game, but I just didn't want to go into an open world game. I haven't played an open world game since Elden Ring. Like I don't want to. I don't want to.
No, I get it.
It doesn't sound appealing.
I think what it is just the fatigue of back to back, right? And to his credit, I think that it is one of those things that it's unfortunate that it got lost in the whole zeitgeist of Elden. Like Elden Ring was such a movement, and it's nothing like I think Horizon Forbidden West looks absolutely stunning. Like it's a beautiful looking game, but again, when the decision had to be made, a lot of people just made that business decision, and it's unfortunate. But I think you should go check it out.
Of course.
Connected with you on a spool level. Now you got it.
Yeah, right. I gotta support my brother, and so I will play it eventually. I don't know if it's this year because the next open world game I do want to play is Ghostwire Tokyo. That's the one I really want to get to.
I do want to play that too.
Horizon's kind of lower on my totem pole. Just it has been that way for the PlayStation IP structure, so that's why I'm not like in a. Yeah, I like Horizon a lot. Don't get me wrong; it's an awesome game. It's just not like I need to get to this. Like I wasn't even crazy excited about when I first saw it. I was like, oh, it looks like more Horizon. That looks good. I'm more excited for God of War, honestly. So
okay, fair enough.
We'll see how I feel in due time, but not in a rush to get to it. All right. Here we go. Stephen Richard writes in. He's coming for both of us, but Cog, obviously, we had a lot of write-ins about one of your particular food takes during the last episode. Dukes, we got to sit down and chat over some toast since we can't agree on any other food items here. First off, Matty, my man, are you in such a rush to finish peas or mac and cheese that you can't enjoy the fun of getting 4 on each end of the fork? Where's the fire, man? That's some extra quality time with the family as you finish some good food. And talking about food, although Kraft is delicious, we are sacrilegious if you think some oven-baked mac and cheese with breaded topping doesn't have the best creamy texture paired with a nice crunch to the top of the layer. You already know how I feel about the crunch. That's not okay. I'll get into that more. But Cog, I gotta hold your feet to the flame here.
Let's get it.
It says now, Cog. Ketchup on mac and cheese and eggs. This debate was in my house for decades, with my lovely mom one evening pulling out that look, I let the Last Stand media writers just say what they want to say within reason. I didn't want to edit this one, so I will get out my professional voice and I'll read this in full. This debate was in my house for decades with my lovely mom one evening pulling out that pussy fart sounding bottle from the fridge and squirting nasty red shit on it, which was what a mere moment ago, a beautiful plate of home-cooked mac and cheese. To this day, she never lived down her choice of liquid topping on her mac and cheese. But I do implore you, get some Frank's or some Sweet Baby Ray's Q. I don't know what the hell that even is. Or whatever store brand you choose. And throw some chicken in there. Mix it up. And as always, use a fork. Love to both of you and the content you put out here and on your respective outlets. Keep grinding and have a overthinking every move at the dinner table kind of day. I've defended my mac and cheese takes quite a bit here. What do you say to those who are upset with your ketchup opinions?
90% of these people who are coming up for me have not tried it. So you
just know.
I just know because you know what's funny. I'm like, did you try it though? And then I already know. I got you because you haven't tried it. And here's the thing: it was literally an accident for me. You doing your little scrambled eggs and whatever I had and hash brown, whatever it was. You had the ketchup, whatever in the middle, and then a little mix kind of happened. I said, wait a minute, I was like, with the cheese, 2 egg, cheese, and oh my God, it was over. So then I said, let me experiment more. One time I had macaroni and cheese. That's a little dabble. Let's see.
You give me like a tablespoon amount so I know how much you're squirting on this. Is it like sometimes I made an avocado and chickpea wrap, right? And I take a squirt of the barbecue sauce and I stir it in there where it's like, it looks like a lot at first, but when it's mixed in, you don't really taste it. It's not an overbearing flavor.
Oh, I see.
How much ketchup do you put in? Where do you taste mostly mac and cheese at a certain point, or is it mostly ketchup and cheese?
All right. So for full disclosure, I don't do the full mixing. I just lightly do like a S shape.
Oh,
Leave
you
it.
don't even.
Nah. So what we doing is we're
Oh,
not
you're eating
doing the
raw ketchup off the top of your macaroni?
Don't say it like that. Don't raw ketchup off the. Don't do me like that.
And it's cold too. That's interesting.
It's just a nice little mix, a different texture. And again, so I'm still appreciating the mac and cheese, right? For the parts that didn't catch it. And then I got this nice little combo. I'm telling you, man, that ketchup and eggs, absolutely fantastic. But to Steven's point, Mom is down. Mom is down with it. And he's saying choose like Sweet Baby Ray's, which is barbecue sauce, whatever. I know some people do hot sauce. That's a big thing. Salsa. A lot of people.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, so some people won't go as extreme as the ketchup. They'll do that. But to me, you're just my cousin. You're still doing the same thing. You're just a cousin. That's all.
I love how in the conversation of hot sauce, you say as extreme as ketchup. Like, is that just out of pocket? Like, I'd say putting hot sauce on everything. One of my girlfriend's best friends, she put hot sauce on everything so much so that she started to burn a lining in her intestines. She had to stop. She literally carried it in her purse. I was like, that's fucking insane, man. I couldn't believe it, but no one's gotten that far yet. So
there's a political joke with this, but I'm gonna leave it alone. But anybody that knows about persons and all that. But yeah, people. There's the hot sauce gang. You know, they go hard. They go extra hard. Especially it's like a very southern thing. I feel I got that. But yeah, man, ketchup. Man, you gotta try it. For those who knock it, until you just put a little on the side, just put a little, and then let it ease over and see what that do. And get back to me.
Walk me through your first happening of this real quick. We'll talk about what we're playing afterwards. Because I'm thinking like my mental image is you're having like a cheeseburger. It's got some ketchup on it. You take a bite and you just like onto your plate. And you're like, oh, that's not right. And you accidentally, you're trying to, because you had a fork, you couldn't scoop the mac and cheese. So you came in, you accidentally pushed it. You're like, I still want to eat it anyway. And in a moment of desperation, you ate that and you actually liked it. So this may all go back to the fork in my eyes, but I want to know, what was your first encounter with the ketchup and the mac and cheese? Right, so if you even remember.
I remember.
Oh, right, wow.
Ketchup and mac and cheese was a progress. That was an evolution, right? It all started with the eggs, because I'm either a sunny side egg guy or a scrambled egg guy. When I started doing more scrambled eggs, I remember I was just like, okay, I had that, and I had like hash brown or what's the they house fries party. What's those joints? That's what they call, right?
Yeah, I think home
house fries. Yeah, well, it's kind of like a potato-y thing. Sometimes people put a little green pepper or whatever. So for me, those are French fries, right? So I'm like
home fries.
Home fries. Thank you. Okay, I knew I got it wrong. So got the little ketchup on the home fries, had the scrambled egg on the side.
That's normal. Yeah, that's normal.
Right.
Behavior.
So they mixed, and I was like, oh, this is official. So I just started bringing them together. So that's how that started. So once I started loving that marriage of the ketchup with the eggs, what else can we do with this?
Wow.
So, one time, so that back, there was no mixing. I literally got the ketchup bottle and said, let's see what this do. Because it just felt like it was going to be right. And I was right.
You had to be alone. There had to be no one around. You would have been held accountable. You reached for the bottle too. Like if it happened, that's one thing, but you were like, let me try with the bottle. I appreciate the insight and the transparency here. We'll let the audience decide for themselves what they feel about it. Let's talk about what games we're playing. Would you like to go first, sir?
Yeah, man. So for me, it was all right. So I actually could talk about it because Lost Islands, they're on beta number 2. So pretty much this is a turn-based game. I had my eye on this since the Microsoft third-party showcase. And this one they showed gameplay of. And it was kind of very Imperial looking. It kind of is like, I want to say Fire Emblem and Banner Saga had a baby.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
So you got the grid action kind of like Banner Saga, but it's very over the top in the dialogue on the battlefield, very expressive. And then the cinematics, it's super, like this is an RPG on narrative. Like they're talking for everything. It's like, okay, we got to break this battle out. Let's talk, whatever. Now here's the thing, Matty, this thing got so much potential. So much potential. They do things with the core gameplay loop that other turn bases don't do that I like, which is like, for example, you got, you got your magic class, you got your sword class, your heavy attack class, and then people can wear different types of armor. There's a rock paper scissor thing to like, okay, the magic classes kind of wear light chainmail. They're more susceptible to arrow archers and stuff like that. Then the people with the heavy knight suit, they're more susceptible to the hard, heavy weapon type thing. But the thing that I liked is that you can do like this. Say for example, you had an archer, right? If you run down on an archer and you're within 1 square and you're a regular melee attack, the archer cannot hit you because you're too close. The archer, like they have this thing where the archer cannot attack. He has to run back. So he could attack a square and 2 squares out safely without any retaliation. The other thing that this game does, which is really cool, is that during the combat, even if it's your turn and you hit the enemy, they get to hit back, but it just will be a weaker thing. So there's always a response. But where I told you about the archer, which is cool, is because he's at that safe distance, he doesn't get a retaliation. So he can start picking apart heavy guys. So you got that aspect. The game also does this thing when you fight, it goes into like a cinematic close feel. And you're like, okay, and then you see like all the other people on the battlefield fighting. It's like, like some real, Game of Thrones kind of battle kind of thing. Now this is where they lose me.
Oh no.
Yo, these graphics though are so...
That's what I noticed when I was looking at it.
Oh man, it's so uneven. There's 1 minute where the cinemas look like it's next gen, and then you get on and it's look like it's PS3 energy, and I'm like, oh no, and the frame rate and the thing, and everything is voice acted, which I love. But here's the problem. This is where the game. I'm gonna complain about it. They better fix this. I've never seen a game where you do the story, right? And you know how, like, let's say you play Mass Effect. There's Shepard, Garrus, Thane, all on the screen. This game goes, Shepard, talk. Blank screen. Garrus, talk. And it'll be like hours of this. And I'm like, fam, can you put all of them on the screen? And then what pisses me off, you disconnect because it's like, you should at least show, you don't got the capacity clearly to do this. So if you're not going to show all of them, and they're emoting, like they're trying to emote with the graphics, show an overview of all of them in the room so I could get the context that who's talking. Like show the room, show all of them. This flashing on screen, it just doesn't work. And even games that do that, you still can see the whole characters, even if they're small. So look, tremendous potential. It was crazy. I still love the game. Gameplay loop is addicting, right? Some of the best magic sorcery in the game I've ever seen. It's really good. Just they need a Kickstarter. They got to get that going. So I was doing that, and then did Halo Infinite, the Lost Wolves.
How we feel about season 2? Tells me everything. Never mind.
All right, they got.
It felt a little light. I played it last night. Felt a little light.
Yeah, it's just that new map ain't really very drab. It's a banished map. There's a lot of elevation to it. Okay, I did the Last Stand mode, which is the seasonal mode. And it's okay. The loop is okay. But I'm like, this is what I left. I was like, Matty, I can't do 6 months of this.
Yeah. I walked away saying, like, see you in a year, probably.
Yeah, I'm like, I could already see me getting bored after like 2 weeks. I was just like, so we'll see. I mean, did you do the campaign portion? I mean, not a campaign, it was a cinematic.
The cinematic? Yeah, I watched that. That was cool.
Yeah, it was cool, but yeah, they got a long way, bro. I if that is it, bro, people gonna be out.
They mentioned monthly drop pods. I'll keep an open mind.
Yes, you're right.
But I kind of walked away with the similar feeling of like, okay, I'll probably hop on for a couple of nights, but the easily distracted switch is on right now. Like you can pull me off this game pretty easily.
Bro, I stopped after I did my two or three matches, got a couple challenges. Then the challenge track, it's not.
Yeah, you're reminded of certain things that you kind of started to loosen up on because it's been so long since you last played.
That challenge. Did you see the rewards?
Yeah,
like I can't get jiggy with that. Like it's not.
I don't like that they. It's a weird complaint, but in the new Battle Pass track, in the second reward, you get a new kill animation. I'm like, everyone's gonna be using that now.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Everyone.
yep.
Yeah, it's no longer gonna matter if it's not like at level 50 plus, because everyone's just gonna be turning into this pixelated mess that they made for the second kill animation. It's gonna be all over.
I mean, like I said, the last stand mode is okay. I like, it has respawns. You do this thing, which you pick up from the experience, and then they do have a gun game portion to it where you get enough kills, you level up, and then you turn it into another gun. Yeah, I do like that. But for a loop for 6, you better have these drops better be popping. But anyway, that's that. And of course, MLB The Show. You already know what I'm doing with that. March, October, all day, every day. Scherzer, DeGrom, the whole crew. You know what it is. Polar Bear, the squad. So what have you been playing?
I'll turn to a write-in first to talk about the first thing I've been playing, or piece of hardware I've been playing with. Jeremy S. writes, Dukes, I may have jumped the gun last week with my question to Matty, so I'll simply repeat it this week. Now that you've had some time with your Steam Deck, what are your thoughts of it? Do you share the critique of its overall size, screen quality, and battery life? Keep up the good work, gents. So I want to start with this because I got my Steam Deck last Friday. And dude, the box it came in was small. Like I went on a jog. When I was walking outside, I saw this little box in my steps next to another one. I was like, all right, I'll grab this on the way inside. Don't ask me why. I think I was just in the move, right? Like you're like ready to go exercise. So I'm just like, I'll grab it on the way in, because I thought it was like an Instacart delivery or whatever. And I walk up and I see like the fragile thing on. I'm like, wait, my Steam Deck said it shipped earlier in the week. This might be it. This is way smaller than I thought it was. And I pick it up. Lo and behold, it is from Valve. It is my Steam Deck. So I get all giddy. I'm like, oh, yo, this is exciting. So come upstairs, put it in the charger, do a podcast with the As Always boys. Afterwards, it was ready. I fired it up. I love this thing. Now, I do have some complaints. I'll start off with those just to kind of get them out of the way. Okay. There is this, I've always had this with handhelds, the 3DS, the Vita, the Switch. When you start using a new handheld for the first time, there is this micro muscle adjustment that your body just makes. And there is almost a level of, I hate to sound like a bitch here, but like soreness after using this new setup, because now these analog sticks are right up next to each other. They're equal on the top. So you're holding things kind of up like this for those who are watching the video version. You're very high up on the console. The general weight of it, the hold of it, very comfortable. Very comfortable.
Even in that position?
Yes, very comfortable. Not as weighty as I expected. Maybe my expectations were in a different area, but in the terms of like heft and actually holding this device, I was like, yeah, this is fine. It's going to be an adjustment for the thumbsticks. I'm still getting used to it. The other thing I'm getting used to is it's the same Switch form factor, but the B and A button are flipped. And I have hit the wrong button so many times, and now I'm like very like old man in this whole console, like making sure it's A, right? Yeah. Like I check the buttons first. I'm getting mixed up a couple of times because they just completely rotated them compared to the Switch.
Question on that. So A is like Xbox A, and B
A is where B would be for the Xbox controller.
So it is switchy then. It's kind of like Switch with the reverse.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry. I got it reversed. Okay. It's set up the same as an Xbox controller.
Oh, I'm good.
Sorry, I apologize.
Okay, cool.
I use my Switch a decent amount, so when I'm holding it that way, I'm thinking Switch, where A is up on the right. So I had my thumb in the B button. I apologize. I got it reversed.
No, makes sense from a portable standpoint. If you play Switch, you're absolutely right. It's going to be a mental adjustment for you. Big time.
But once I started making the Xbox connection in my head, I'm like, just think of it like an Xbox controller, and just kept like beating that in my head. That was a pretty quick adjustment it's been so far. So that's the biggest complaint I really have right now. Otherwise, I've just kind of had like gamer ADD. I've just been downloading everything on this thing, man, because it's been fascinating to see like games that don't work on current PCs all that well, like Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. You have to do some kind of loops you got to hop through to get it working on current PCs. It's not like, say, Fallout 3, but Oblivion is rated or verified as great on deck. And I'm like, no way. So I downloaded Oblivion. I downloaded New Vegas, Sonic Generations, which is notorious for being bad on PC. That was verified as great on deck. They also had Disney Infinity 3.0, which was verified as great on deck. Batman Arkham City, which I know isn't a great PC port. I know Arkham Knight is the worst one, but Arkham City I don't think had a great PC port. Just BioShock 2 Remastered. There's just a ton of them listed as great for deck. And I was like, just trying all these different games out. Elden Ring was one of them. That was such a cool moment to try it out. to me, what I'm still in the new console phase or new hardware phase where I'm just trying everything out and just having fun. I haven't really stuck to anything yet. I've really been bouncing all over the place. And it's funny using this thing because the biggest change I've noticed for myself is you recognize when you've used an Xbox and a PlayStation and a Nintendo device for like 3 generations, the button placements, where everything's at. Like, oh, I pressed the home button on the Xbox controller and it brings up this dashboard that I've seen since the 360, and I know what the purpose of this dashboard is. With the Steam, it's like, hey, you got a Steam button on the bottom left. You got these 3 dots on the bottom right. You press the Steam button, it brings up like a little sidebar. You've got new tabs. You've got new options. I'm slowly working through it. And I want to shout out my buddy, Jimmy Champagne. I've been texting this man constantly for help, constantly. Like, I was setting up Elden Ring. I was like, hey, man, I'm getting like a white screen bug. He's like, oh, go into properties, compatibility, and check experimental compatibility for the Proton. Works. And that's what I love about this thing is Jimmy's been showing me over time, because he runs a great channel, Deck Ready. Please check it out.
Salute.
He's been showing me that this is such a customizable piece of hardware. It's amazing. One thing that Steam's always had, I was not familiar with it, but I've learned about through this, is the customizable controls. I think this is so cool. So I was playing Star Wars: The Old Republic on my Steam Deck, which I couldn't friggin' believe. And now the beast is unleashed. That's probably going to be the game I stick to, because I can play that MMO in bed. Are you kidding me, man? I love that game. And that's like, I don't like being hunched over my PC for an MMO. So like for me, just being able to lay back with that is great.
Nice.
But when I fired it up, I had a couple options. I could have just used the generic template that Steam had set up for you, or you can go to community layouts and you have people who go through and create controller layouts for like PlayStation, for Xbox. And there's even Steam Deck ones people are making now. So you'll load community controller layouts and it'll have a whole template that you can open in the game page to see like what everything is. And then you can take those custom layouts and then you can edit them yourself. So what I did was, this is a hotbar kind of combat system, 1 through 9. You use the numbers on the keyboard to do them. So what I did was they have 2 paddles on each side for the back. So I was like, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is X. And I just set up all the D-pad for 1 through 4. And I made this combat system work in a controller format through a community layout as well as my own customization. That was a really cool feeling. And it wasn't difficult. That's the other thing. It wasn't difficult to learn.
Nice.
It's just a really nice customizable system, especially when you know that they're trying to add support for like micro SD, where you could like boot up Windows through the micro SD. Like they're really letting you do whatever you want. I haven't tried out emulators yet. That's the next step for like Retro Rebound and stuff. But apparently you can go to like the browser and you go to like Emu Deck right now, and you could download something that effectively functions as a Steam Deck application, and you could play on an emulator pretty much natively without any jumping through hoops. So I'm just overall loving this thing. I'm really impressed by it. I had high hopes. If anyone's been tracking my thoughts on it, like y'all know, I live and die by the PS Vita, man.
Oh yeah.
And this will not replace the Vita in my eyes, because I love like the novelty of buying the cartridges and knowing like a console quality games on that thing. You can't replace that. But like novelty aside, this, not even the Switch was the replacement for the Vita. This is the replacement I have been looking for. That console quality handheld experience that feels limitless. But now it's something that developers have bought into. They're supporting, like Persona 4 Golden just got verified. I'm like, this is what we need. This is what I've been looking for. So I am very much impressed by it. Battery life hasn't been an issue. It changes based off the games you're playing, I've noticed. Like, I think I was playing Sonic Generations and said I had 6 hours left. And I was like, that's great. That's way more than I probably ever use it for. But I noticed with Elden Ring, it was like saying like 2, 3.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm willing to understand that. The Switch has done that even. There are great channels. Like I think Reviews to Go is a channel I watched a lot. And he does reviews for originally the Vita is how I found him, but now the Switch. And he'll do handheld battery tests, and based off the power of the game, that will change how long the battery will last. So I don't know. I guess I'm more in the cut on that, so I'm familiar with that. So I understand something like Elden Ring, this generation-defining game, probably won't last too long on a handheld device compared to something like Sonic Generations. But that has been my experience thus far, and I'll be talking about this a lot for weeks to come. Nice. So I will evolve and develop those thoughts. Any questions you've had about it?
Not jealous at all.
Oh yeah, I know. I know.
Q3.
Hmm.
Yeah, but now this is promising. This is extreme. Me and you are very much handhold guys, and
Hmm.
I love
Oh,
the
you're
thing
gonna
that
love this for that reason
I
alone, man.
can't wait,
That
man.
train to PAX East 2023 is gonna hit different.
That's what I'm saying, because it's
Mhm.
like you still it's something about a portable device. You still love that portability, that comfort, that side. And that was my main
Mhm.
concern, just to see how the analog placement was going to be. Also, the mouse things, the
Yes, that feels surprisingly good. The
okay
trackpads,
trackpads,
yeah,
yeah, good.
yeah, surprisingly good. The biggest issue. Thank you for saying this because it reminds me when I was playing Oblivion, and of course SWOTOR. This is a little more of an exception for SWOTOR because it's not like verified by deck; it's just playable. When you got to use games that require a mouse, if you're using the analog stick, sometimes it's a little bit of like light tapping to try to get it in just the right place. You don't have that control. If I had like my mouse in my hand like this and I was moving it around, what I could do with that versus using a thumbstick to control a mouse cursor. It's a little annoying in Oblivion because I have to like tap it around to like loot different items. You eventually get used to it. There are, again, ways you can customize it with the controller where you could be like, okay, I'm going to map the mouse button to my trackpad. Makes it a lot easier. But natively speaking, that is a little bit of a stumble that you can encounter
Okay.
there.
Fair enough, fair enough. Can't wait, man. I'm definitely
Mm,
excited. Again, it's to me, it's the evolution of what I wanted the Switch to do. As far as those
yes, yes.
console level type experiences in that handheld. I'm hyped, man. That's a
Mhm.
good review.
Right on. I've also been playing Magic the Gathering Arena.
Mm.
I was man. So this goes back to PAX as well. This is actually when my pre-order, pardon me, for the Steam Deck was available. Um, and we were killing time at PAX. We had dinner reservations at Legal Harborside for 9:30 was the only time they had available. So we didn't want to go back to the Airbnb, chill, then just leave because I would have been with these Uber prices like another $100. So
The movers is out there.
yeah, they were, man. They were making
Ooh.
money.
What?
They so we had about 3 hours to kill, and we decided let's go hang out in the back of the PAX convention, where eventually the show floor shuts down at like 5 or 6, I think it is, and they have the card game section there, the board game section. So my buddy and I went and bought starter decks for Magic the Gathering. This is a game that I played a little bit of for some time. I played Dragon Ball Super, the card game, for years. I fucking love that game, man. No one knows about DBS card game Matty except Carrick, and he had to hear me
Mm.
for years on ham radio talk about this shit, man. He got tired of me, man. It's so funny. So if that game ever comes out on a digital format, I'm
Over.
gone. I'm gone. Retiring. I'm gone. I'm becoming a professional player. Anyway,
Nice.
MTG Arena is a game I ended up downloading because I had played it prior to this PAX. I played it for years. I stopped playing because I got more into DBS. Then, since I haven't been able to play DBS because it's only available in analog, like in person, no one in my community plays it anymore. So I've had to supplement that card game fix that had been rediscovered by downloading MTG Arena. So I've been playing that a lot. And this is a great free to play game, man. Like the amount of cards and packs they give you for just playing, it's become my cooking game. What I've done, Cog, is this. I'll be making a little bit of like lentil stew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm doing that, I'm just taking turns. Let's throw a little bit of a plains card out there. We'll throw out a war chief, and I'm playing my white deck. I'm just doing
Mm-hmm.
this as I'm cooking, and it's fun. It's great. It's just a nice little companion game. It's my morning game, is what I've done. I used to just
Mm.
like bullshit on YouTube in
Mhm.
the morning, but now I'm just like, well, this is more enjoyable. It's kind of engaging too. I'm just like, trying to out strategize someone while my eyes are still crusty. It's fun. But yeah, I've been playing that as well. That's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's go. It's funny. I'm now more open to them because of DVO. And now,
Mm,
before I wouldn't even look at this stuff, but
mm.
now DVO's kind of got me into the culture, so I'm about to see what's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on. I have to
Yeah,
see what's
it's
going on.
it's fun. It's tough to learn. The
Mhm.
game doesn't do a spectacular job teaching you. And like even I played I think the last time I played this app was like 2 years ago, I want to say. And when I had hopped in, the format was totally different. And now hopping in, the amount of card types and abilities, I'm just like, holy smokes, man. Do they even
Wow.
care about getting new people in
Oh
anymore?
yeah, they
You
so
got to have
deep.
some level of familiarity. It's tough. It's
Mhm.
tough.
Fair
And then
enough.
Sonic Heroes I've been
Oh, we're
playing for
back. We're
retro
back.
rebounds. Yeah, we're back
Mhm.
on Sonic, so I'll share more thoughts on that later. I've only played it for a couple hours, but that's what I've been up to.
No doubt. Good guess. Good list.
All right, warm-up question time. Number one goes to Leo. Greetings, Dukes. I'm currently playing through all the Call of Duty campaigns, and with the announcement of the new MW2, it got me thinking, in your opinion, what is the best Call of Duty based only on the campaign? No multiplayer, no zombies. Just found out my girlfriend of 7 years shits in the shower and kicks it down the drain kinda day. Nasty.
Nasty. Yeah. Gotta cut that off right there, bro. That's crazy.
Run for the hills.
Yeah, run for the hills. That's crazy. Oh, Leo, let's see. It was funny is I haven't played a lot of Call of Duty. Like the Call of Duty campaigns I played was like when they first debuted on 360. So
okay, Big Red One was one of them.
Yeah, which like I'm trying to remember. Were they numbered at that time? Whatever was before World at War. So I'm gonna say what 2 was it? Called
yeah, that was 2. 3? Yeah,
whatever the 360 ones were.
Yeah, you had World at War. You had COD 4.
Yeah, but before the Modern Warfare ones, there was like
Big Red One was definitely one. I don't know if Call of Duty 3. I've never heard.
I think they were just numbered at that time.
So Call of Duty 3 was a thing. I don't remember.
Yeah, 2 and 3 I remember, but like I think it was 2 was the breakthrough game, and it was on 360. And I remember playing it, and it's like the whole historic thing, and that's when I learned about legendary difficulty. And it became a badge of art. When I was in my achievement bag. Like I'm like, no, you until you beat Call of Duty on veteran, you ain't. You know what I'm saying? You was the guy like back then. That was the badge of honor. I still got those achievements. So now that I look back, it was so cheap. It was one of those things that we had to like. It was so hard that like you basically just had to push forward because enemies would just keep on respawning and keep on coming, and it would never stop. So you just had to get to these checkpoints, kind of a thing. But I remember those stories being good, and then obviously, once we got to the Infinity Ward era. And Zampella and Modern Warfare, and man, like those campaigns were really Soap and McTavish and all that stuff.
So long, it's been so long,
bro. It's again, I'm showing my age, but those are the ones for me because it was Call of Duty when I was in love with it. It was always 3 things: on single player, you had to beat it on veteran. If you was an OG hardcore gamer, you had to beat it on veteran. And then the second thing was multiplayer prestige. You prestiged, you was the guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Then you had your little extra banner, you had your little icy gun with the little skin. And that's one thing Call of Duty did. They rewarded you for that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? From you get a showcase to brag that people could see when you
logo next to your
logo. The logo, like I was in it. That was when I was in it, man. I used to be the guy that used to pick cheap perks, last stand from the ground. I was that annoying guy. Those bad kill streaks. I know, man. I know. I was toxic. I was very toxic. I admit. But
I was probably toxic because I hated people like you. So.
Yeah, I was that guy. People hated me. This noob picking his stupid last stand. Yeah, that was me.
I unironically probably called you a noob at one point in my life.
We definitely faced each other. And shout out. Let me tell you right now, before I pass you, Call of Duty lobbies, search and destroy.
Oh,
bro, that made you a man.
Comms, yeah.
Them comms was loose. This is like kind of the days before the party chat got. Actually, they used to disable party chat.
Yes, they forced you in.
Forced you to talk.
How about that? Yeah, they forced you in.
Forced you to talk. And if you lost and you heard all type of things about how you were and who you were, man, they called you out your name. People got in there. Give me your address. I'm like, it was crazy. It was a crazy time. It's crazy time.
It's so funny you bring that up. I forgot about the forced game chat, man. Like people took that seriously.
Bro, you would wait to the end of the match when you know to win and dudes will pop off.
Yeah. For me, it's funny because we were talking about Call of Duty 2 and 3, and I played Finest Hour, like the first Call of Duty, but I never played 2 or 3. Now that I look at them, actually, you know what? I did play 3 on my Wii. I take that back, but hell if I remember that at all. But for me, Call of Duty World at War probably is the one that stands out to me the most. I'm like a huge World War II head. Like it's my favorite time period to study. It always was. And I just thought the intro was so strong with like the torture scene and stuff. I thought it like really captured how vicious things were, and the in-between mission cutscenes using like real war footage. I don't know, man. Like that was just an iconic campaign for me. It also symbolized like my started 360 generation for me. I probably wouldn't have had a 360 for a while because I didn't. It's not even like I didn't have the money. I didn't care though at the time. Like I got my 360 in 2009, I want to say, and I came in
Because
late
of
because of Resident Evil 5 was the game that I played. Yeah.
okay.
I played it at a friend's house and he had the 360. And also Samurai Warriors 2 was another one I played. And I was like, yeah, this is the movement. So I fired that up and ended up trading in all my games. I also got Mass Effect 1. That was another one that pushed me over the line. But I got my 360 extremely late. But this was one of the first games that I got strictly because my friends were like, play multiplayer with this. I said, sure, why not? It was very cheap at the time. And so that was one that I do think of fondly for a campaign because that I bought it for the multiplayer and I loved the campaign.
Yeah.
But if I were to pick like my all-time favorite, Black Ops 2, without a
Ooh.
doubt. If you play Black Ops 2,
I remember.
you've experienced campaign greatness, real choice and consequence, a major plot twist, a strong ending, didn't feel rushed. This one was just right. And I'm also going to throw out there, this is a hot take for a lot of people. Black Ops Cold War, 2020's Call of Duty, had one of the best campaigns in a Call of Duty game. That thing blew my socks off.
Okay.
That was nice 5 hours, but it is another mind-bending type of game. Comes from Raven Software. Raven Software made like Singularity. They made a lot of really good games, man. It showed to me like they still got it because that was not just a campaign again. It was more than that. Highly recommend that one too. There's still good Call of Duty campaigns out there.
Yeah.
Not every single one hits, but I will tip my cap to Activision as a whole for that they continue to do the campaigns. And when they do have them, there's still some new ideas in there that keep them really fun. Because like Black Ops Cold War had like sandbox elements, really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, no, I still love that aspect of it. And like I said, as much as people, and even I've kind of cooled off on its impact on what it is. When you were in Call of Duty, you were in Call of Duty. And I was about that life. I betrayed Halo. I straight up betrayed Halo during that phase. It was all COD all day, every day, man. That was the thing.
Let's move on to number 2, talk about the future. Hey, Dukes. Maddie, I was watching your video about Starfield. You mentioned that if there isn't a 30-minute presentation on Starfield, that you'd be worried because it's something they used to do. When they did that with their older games, they were in a different mindset. They needed you to purchase the games because that was their only source of income. Now with that Microsoft money, they might not feel pressured to market it the same way. Of course, they will still do what they can to get people to play the game. Also with Game Pass and word of mouth, if the game is good, it will do a lot of the heavy lifting. I just think that expecting Bethesda to have the same strategy when they aren't in the same situation they used to be, pardon me, holy crap, I shouldn't have ate before this show, might be unrealistic. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I just wanted to play this new game, but first I have to make an account to link to it before I can even play it. Kind of day. Yeah, you just unlocked the memory there. That's a tough one.
Man, looking at you.
Yeah, I mentioned this in my video today, recording this Wednesday, May the 4th. And I definitely rolled back my statement on this a little bit because I think I was brash in saying that I said I'd be worried, which this comment doesn't even say. But I mentioned like I'd be worried if they wouldn't show that much of it. But I think that was a sign that I need to shift my thought process a little bit here and understand that things are going to be different this time around. I still think they need to show a lot of this game because it is the new thing, right? It's not Fallout. But I do think it's going to be different this time around in the sense that maybe they don't need to go all in at the summer showcase and that's it. See you later, like they usually did. I think they're going to keep showing more throughout the summer. That's my theory with this showcase. But I have more to say, Cog. I want to pass it to you. Do you think that they have to market this the same way like they did with Fallout 4, like they did with 76, get on stage, half-hour presentation? Because right now, it's believed to be about 90 minutes long, this showcase. We saw on the official Xbox website, if you were to add this event to your calendar, it goes for an hour and a half. Aaron Greenberg responded saying, this isn't the final time, but we're usually falling around that. We'll have more details soon. So it looks like this is somewhat locking into that time period that to me, leave a window open for Xbox to say like, here's 30 minutes of Starfield because they have so many other things to show as we already know. So that's a long way of setting it up for you, Cog. How do you feel about everything that's going on with the showcase and how long we may see Starfield for?
Yeah, I agree with Michael. I think it's going to be different. And the reason being is that Microsoft knows they got one, so to speak, right? It's all in on your t-shirt right there. It's
Yes,
all
yes.
in. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. So they know they got one. At the same time, there's a bunch of things they have to show. And I do think, I don't know if you saw Jason Ronald's tweet today. He's like
Did not.
trying out new demos. This is the most excited time of year. We can't wait to show you. You know
They're
what I'm saying?
talking,
Like
man. They're talking.
they're talking. So they got stuff they want to do. And I think since Starfield represents, I told you, there's a lot of significance to Starfield. New IP, Bethesda exclusive, and I think what they want to do is they will show it. Yes, they will show gameplay. I just don't think it will dominate, and they may pull off catch more of it at this show. And now that's where the controversy will be. The controversy will be catch more of it either at their own thing, what maybe a Paris Lily or whoever, right?
Like
Host it.
Showcase,
Extended showcase with a little bit more in depth, and Todd may come out there and get busy, or the rest of the development team. Or, and people don't want to hear this, and I said this on LP, Jeff is outside. And as much as people don't like Jeff, and what's the name of the Colin makes me laugh. What's the name of the thing that we found out was affiliated with Tencent, and it was ads all during the thing? I forgot. You know this. Whatever the name of that advertising is. Don't get ready for some advertising, but I'm telling you right now, Microsoft has shown they are willing to put their babies where the eyes are, and it's a big debate in the community. Like, yo, how do you intend to build? I know Addict really dies on this hill. How do you intend to build up your own showcase if you're giving everything else away to everyone else? But the way Microsoft looks at it is Game Awards, Jab, Summer Games Fest, and especially with no E3, you're gonna have to give Jeff something. Starfield may. Did you? What did we debunk those leaks about? Should we even talk about the leaks about the conversation about something with someone and two people and
that's already public.
Debunked the public.
No, that's real. That's definitely real.
So the audio.
You're talking about the audio interview with Jeff Keighley and stuff. Yeah, that's definitely real because that's not available anywhere else. So they're already working on something together. So I think your theory is pretty spot on.
So we'll see. I think it's just a new day for Bethesda in the way that it's going to be handled, and I do think we'll get a little bit more of it, more than just a one show. But I know you're tightly involved in the situation. God Howard knows the man personally. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
I know nothing.
Listen, man, this man is stronger than you think. So, you let us know how. Give me the itinerary. I want to know play by play, minute by minute. When is the leather jacket coming out so I can get ready?
I'll keep you posted if I find out. By the way, it was Level Infinite, just to throw it out there.
Yes. Get ready for some Level Infinite. I'm telling you, man. Microsoft's going to give Jeff something. Why not the baby? I know people don't like it, but
yeah.
What you think? What do you think will happen? What do you know will happen? I'm going to act like you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to play dumb. What are you?
I do think you're on the right track. I think that they'll probably roll this thing out over time. I mentioned, I guess I have to adjust my line of thinking completely because I've been saying for so long that they need to market this thing more, which they have been doing with the development documentaries, with like interviews. They've been doing them sporadically to keep it in the conversation, to gradually peel back more about the world without showing the game yet. They're doing all they can without actually showing the game right now since last June with all these interviews and development documentaries, where once they show the game, they can't do what Fallout 4 did, I think, which was no press hands-on, no other trailers really outside of like a Pip-Boy one. Any trailers they did show, like the special trailers, were like context clues for what would be in the game, about like the perk chart you'd see in the game. But, like it's not the actual content you'd be experiencing. Like, I think they don't need to spoil it all. I'm not calling for that whatsoever. But they do need to break things down a little bit more methodically than I think they have historically. I'll say it again. They don't have this known series to lean on. They have a pedigree to lean on, but that pedigree has been damaged by your last game, Fallout 76. Let's be honest, right? I think Bethesda's made some of the best games of all time, but that recent pedigree damaged, doesn't have a good look. You can't lean on the fact that we're going to put BGS on the cover. And that's going to be it. I think you got to do a little bit more in that, and that's show the game a lot. So I'm anticipating Cog. I call it the Forza Horizon 5 preview. Nice
Okay.
10 to 15 minutes. We'll see this game. And like you mentioned, we'll see more, probably Todd Howard interview, extended showcase, and then more at Gamescom. And I think this should be a steady, much like Halo. I'm thinking of Halo. It had a steady presence like month after month after month leading up to its launch. I think that makes a lot of sense for them. I think it makes a lot of sense for a new IP. I just think they need to be more aggressive about what they show, less than the conversation about it.
Yeah, they've got it. They've got to hit the gameplay off the bat, even if it's like I said, a 10-minute thing, just to quell the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Just to quell. I shouldn't say nonsense, but just to quell people who are concerned and they're like, "Hey, how dare you get excited?" Okay, cool. Here's the gameplay. Punch them in the mouth early. Boom. This is it.
Oh, you want to
Starfield.
start with it? Nice.
I mean, you don't even have to start, but I mean, I'm all for it because to me, there's a part of me that's like, if you start with it. Now I'm super like if you go straight to the thing, like there's a part of me like, oh, you got more than tuck. Like this is just the first shot. Like there's a part of me.
I hope they end with it. I'd love to end with it.
Either or. I just want to see it so we could put it to bed and we could be comfortable. That's what we just need. Everyone just needs to be comfortable. The hardcore who have the faith, and then the people who are skeptical that want to see how this thing is. And I agree with you. But this is. There is a lot of pressure on this title. Make no mistake.
Yes.
There is pressure on it because it's their first one, and it's new for them. It's not the same tried and true. This is spacefaring. This is a whole different thing. I'm excited. I get excited to talk about it.
I'm pumped.
We'll derail the show. Continue.
Dude, we only got about a month left, so we're getting there. Nathan Sains is our next write-in. Hey there, Diamond Achievement Dukes. Another week, another acquisition rumor. This time it's the rumor of WB off-holing their game studios to potential buyers, including EA Games, Take-Two, Sony, Tencent, PUBG Corp, and of course, Microsoft. With WB Games studios, including Rocksteady, TT Games, Monolith, Avalanche, Portkey, and WB Montreal. Whoever acquires them would grab some really good talent. I feel like this specific acquisition is one that Microsoft needs to be a part of, especially since Crystal Dynamics got away from them. By acquiring WB Studios, they acquire great talent capable of the hashtag just one, action-adventure, and family-friendly content. Do you guys think Microsoft have their hands tied at the moment due to Activision-Blizzard? Have a looking at your massive game collection and not being able to choose what to play kind of day. That's me with my Steam Deck right now, man. It's bad.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I wanted to include this, not in our news, but I wanted to use the write-ins and have a conversation about what popped up recently and how you feel about Xbox maybe getting involved on this one. Do you think they pulled the trigger? Because as we'll talk about with Square Enix and Embracer, we've now learned you can keep the company intact and sell off particular divisions. So with that new knowledge, what's your view of the situation here with these golden handcuffs that Microsoft has around their wrists right now?
Yeah, I think it's something that they're interested in. They've kicked the tires before. From my understanding, the issue came down to the IPs not being included with all the prices, so that does not interest Microsoft at that time. Now we're hearing new things from Discovery. Now we're hearing on an individual level you can purchase and maybe license will be included as well. So if that's the case, they're interested. And that they, based on what we know, and shout out to Hogue Law, who we've had on in the realm of the Dukes, this would constitute an acquisition that they could still do in this current climate, even with the Activision thing. Yes, the block's hot. They're not going to get the whole WB. I just don't see that. But I will say, NetherRealm, got to be the play. Yes. And I'm hashtag just one, but NetherRealm has to be the play. If you want to rank,
let them go, man.
Yeah, you cannot let them go. If Sony gets them with Evo and Capcom, and I mean, they don't have Capcom yet, but they, Street Fighter was exclusive the last year.
All fighting games are exclusive.
All fighting games, like you don't have anything in the genre. And regardless to what, even if Mortal Kombat remains multi-plat, having that in Game Pass, the number one most dominant fighting franchise, most likely right now.
Around, yeah, man.
Bro, you've now made you the most attractive, one of the most attractive things. And then I will say, in the past, we've said, what is it, Toys that? Traveler's Tale?
Yes.
But I think they dropped down because now that you got, Toys for Bob, most likely, with Activision, the need is not there as much. So I think then Rockstar Steady probably moves up a bit, and then you see if you could do it. You could see if you could get the DC license and and start rocking out. But those are the two. I think NetherRealm is the play. Put it this way, even if you weren't interested, if you find out that Sony's bidding, you better damn well get interested. That's where I'm at with this.
Yeah. It looks like they're trying to sell off their entire set of studios, but man, if Xbox could find a way to get NetherRealm, that's an important one for them, because it just knocks them completely out of a genre if they don't have it. If it goes to someone else like Take-Two, even Tencent, EA, it's like, I mean, sucks, whatever, but it's going to be multi-plat, right? It'll probably change how those games are made, but still, it's going to remain on their platform. But if you have a threat there that like PlayStation or somehow Nintendo would get involved, and you just know you're going to lose access to it, you just can't let that happen. Like,
agreed.
You got to put in the bid and just find out what happens afterwards. I think it's one you risk, because
and I don't. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, just because it will completely remove an important part of Xbox. That you think of the launch games of the original Xbox with like Dead or Alive 3. Like, fighting was on Xbox. Not that it was not good on PlayStation, but fighting was on Xbox too. It's just that it became such a little priority for them for years to come that they let this amazing Killer Instinct game go. Like, they just don't care. And that's why I could also see them, I'm gonna be honest, Cog, I could see them just saying, well, it's the one genre we really don't have anything to show for, and what's one company going to do for us, right? Do you focus on someone like Rocksteady, who could make you a great Just One, who has the partnership with WB to get those comic book IP, and just have them make you blockbuster hits? What works better for them as a company, right? If you could pull that one out, that'd be exciting. But for me, I don't want Rocksteady, not because I love their games, man, but they take forever to release them.
I was just about to say that.
So, Model is one that's really interesting to me as well. Oh, the cops.
Yeah, the cops, they come out. I was trying to.
I was like, why is it so quiet all of a sudden?
Yeah, they lose. No, I'm with you, because it's the same thought process. Like, Rocksteady, y'all take mad long. And I don't know if Microsoft finds that attractive, that you take so long. Like, they want content. And here's the other thing that NetherRealm, think about it. Even if you are lukewarm on the fighting genre, you can't deny that it's a perfect fit for a Game Pass competitive head-to-head fighter, online fighter. Like, you're doing yourself a disservice by not putting that in the service. So you got to do NetherRealm. Boom, the guy, like, come on. And then there's some ties from back in the day, I think, with Matt Booty and them. Like, he was there since the Bally Midway days, from way back. There's connections there. There's connections. Matt Booty has a lot of history in the industry. He's in the cut, but there's some ties there as well. I think you got to get that to make that happen all the way.
Or WB Montreal, because they're going to do that Gotham Knights. And,
yes.
That looks good.
That looks good. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Thank you for writing in, Nathan. Let's talk with Brandon Buonacorsi. Hey, Dukes, with the rumors that Ubisoft Plus might join Game Pass, I wonder if Microsoft could use an Amazon Prime Video-like model with Game Pass. First, there's the base Game Pass subscription, but then you can customize individual channels to customize your Game Pass subscription. For instance, Cloud Gaming, EA Play, Ubisoft Plus could all be individual add-ons that you turn on or off to get access to. This would let users tailor their subscription and their monthly payment to support their own gaming habits, while also allowing Microsoft to add more features without having consumers worry about substantial price increases to support it. Would love to hear your thoughts. I think Brandon's on fire with this one. This would be ideal, would it not?
For the fans. It ain't happening, bro. I love you, Brandon. This is pie in the sky. I can't see this happening at all.
Man, I really like the idea, but I guess my consumerism got in the way.
Look, I love it too. I like a la carte. Hey, I'll get EA Play. Hey, like, nah, they got to give a bag to everybody for even participating in the service. And look, I would love to be proven wrong on this. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be anti-consumer. This is super pro-consumer. I would love something like this. It's just, I can't see under the structure, the model. Let's just say everyone does not pick EA Play. EA has to get a bag, right? So how does that work? Is Microsoft comfortable with giving EA a bag and nobody's picking this?
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think it just kind of falls apart on the back end. But hey, if they could do something like this, or in conjunction with a family plan, absolutely. I'm pro-consumer. Hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah. I feel like Ubisoft Plus to Game Pass has to be within the next year in inevitability. Gosh. And, this is one of those services that kind of like EA Play, although EA Play is at least more affordable. Like, people are like, I don't really want to pay for it. When it's in Game Pass, it's like, all right, cool. Like now I'll definitely dive into these games. And Ubisoft with their just outward facing public image, not a lot of people are crazy about them right now. I feel like this would be a smart play for them. We'll actually be talking about Ubisoft a lot in this episode later on. But I thought this rumor was interesting. It spawned from a Instagram post on Ubisoft Netherlands where someone asked if Ubisoft Plus was coming to Game Pass soon, and they said, yes, it will be coming soon. But then they corrected themselves saying they don't know when. They just said that it was a mistake and we don't know about anything happening yet. I'm like, interesting.
Sounds like an early E3 announcement.
Yeah, possibly. We'll see. But this is one that's been rumored since episode 1 of Defining Duke Ultimate. So, or just Defining Duke in general, actually. So that was January, February of 2021. So yeah, it's possible, and I'd love to see it because they do have a lot of great games in their back catalog for how much they suck now. All right, let's move on to number 5. Anthony Lencioni. You let me know, Anthony. Hey, Dukes. I was wondering if y'all ever think Xbox will fix their back compat program. What I mean is, will they ever allow disc-based games like 50 Cent Skate 2 to be playable digitally? It really sucks out here having a Series S and not being able to play some of these greats due to this. Cog, I'm sure you're impassioned on this topic as a Series S fan.
Yeah. That's where it bite me. I got 50 Cent pinned on my pins that travel between both systems. I can't play that on the Series S. And that's where the lack of the disc does come back. And again, if you haven't watched our amazing Defining Duke Ultimate about physical games, you need to watch that. These are the discussions we're talking about. And this is where the preservation and the not having a physical disc really does bite you. And just in general, I do wish that, sadly we talked to Jason and the program's over. Like they've moved their resources on. And the thing that's unfortunate is where I agree with Anthony is I feel that even if you don't make them available digitally, right? I do feel there is an obligation that anyone who's had those original discs, because what was that game? You talked about some cool Xbox OG game. Death Row, yeah. And remember we had our list of like back
rocks.
Yeah, like it's a shame that at the very minimum, the disc doesn't just run it. Even if there's no upgrades, it should just run it, right? And that's the part where it's just man, but we hear the legality, we hear the lawyers, we hear it. It just sucks. It just sucks that not everything made it through and could be
Ubisoft
preserved.
Published that one, by the way, Death Row.
Yeah.
So. But the company that worked on, I think, South End, they're no longer around.
That's what it is. It's the legality. And then what happens is, look, the reality is they could do it. They just don't want to get sued. They just don't want to deal with the repercussion. And I get it. It's just the business 100%. Of the industry sucks sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a game that works on 360 back compat. So they figured out something for that. That's how I play that game. I still go back to it, man. That one's just so good.
So good.
Dude. You played it?
You told me, and I started researching it. I was like, "This looks cool as hell,
bro." Man, no one's written in about it yet, but I want someone to try Death Row on the original Xbox. Just this fighting sports game hybrid. It's one of my favorites, and it's crude, man. I love crude humor. Like I was watching Vince McMahon videos the other night, man. I was crying of laughter. I remember the last time I laughed this hard by myself, man. Have you ever watched these Vince McMahon videos that he did in like the WWF, early WWE days?
Oh, it's hilarious.
Oh my God. Like there's just half that. What got me is like the titles. It's like Vince McMahon goes to church. And I'm like, what? And you click on it and he's like, God, it's me, Vince McMahon. You and I aren't that different. I actually made Stone Cold Steve Austin and Undertaker, and you made humanity. I'm just like, bro, this guy's like, he's so funny. There's a video I posted for the Embracer acquisition where like he's like in his car and he drives into the DX limo and he's just cursing his brains out. I'm like, this guy is just on one. Funniest man I've seen in a while.
As hell. No one could ever discount Vince's passion for the industry and the things he subjected himself with and included himself with. You got to give it to him, man. So many over the top moments, but yeah, I love that stuff. It's hilarious.
God, yeah, like this one he went to jail. Like there's just so many. If anyone wants to know the one that really set me for hysterics, it was Vince McMahon is insane. It's all it was called. It's just a 3-minute video of him just doing wild shit. Like there's one where he like pulls down his pants and like has William Regal kiss his ass in the ring.
He was being disrespectful. He was on some. Yeah, I remember that storyline. Very disrespectful storyline.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I don't know how you can. You always like
how you convince the talent that they gotta do this.
Exactly that, right? William Regal's one of the goats. And I'm just like, bro, like how you get this man to say like, get on your knees and kiss my ass in the ring? Like,
public national.
Yeah,
bruh. Wrestling, yo, he pushed the limits.
He did.
But he would do anything. To his credit, he would do anything to raise that bar and to get butts in the seat. And then when was it? The Monday Night Wars were going on, bro. It was serious, dude. You had to think outside the box. Those writers, Vince Russo, and these ones, and it was a thing to have the best storyline week after week after week. It was crazy, man. I remember that time.
So good. I wish I was like more invested when I was younger. I was more in like the early 2000s, but like, so I still caught some of it, but like, I wish I was older to like really have that memory fully captured in a bottle, right? Oh. Like I saw it all so late, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, it was special because it became Monday night and you would flick back.
Yeah,
what's Raw doing?
You said you had the 2 TVs, right?
2 TV Nitro. Okay, what they? These guys got NWO's over here. What's going on? Like it was just it was a thing, and then Nitro had the money. Sometimes they just buy somebody. Like, oh my God, Ultimate Warriors on Nitro. Like what? Yeah. Like it was just moments, bro. Moments.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of which, the AEW video game got a confirmation of they're adding Chris Statlander and Nyla Rose in the game. Ooh. And they're calling it AEW Fight Forever. It's being developed by Ukes, the company who worked on the WWE games prior to them leaving and 2K taking over. So just keep an eye out for that one. It's confirmed to be coming to PC. I'm so excited for this game, man. So excited. It doesn't even look that great right now. It looks a little rough around the edges, but I can't wait.
Got to see your people.
Yes, I got to support my crew.
No doubt.
All right. We delayed long enough. Let's get into number 1. We had a ton of write-ins about this one, so I used as many as I could. The Embracer Group has swooped in for an absolute steal in the midst of acquisition season as they have reached an agreement with Square Enix to inherit their entire Western operations for a shockingly low price of $300 million. When you consider Sony paid $3.6 billion for Bungie, Xbox paid $7.5 and $68.7 billion for Bethesda and Activision, respectively, but perhaps the best measurement is Embracer themselves. In February of 2021, they paid $1.2 billion for Borderlands developer Gearbox. Suffice to say that they got this division from Square Enix on the absolute discount. A press release from Embracer confirms that the deal brings back 50 back catalog games into the fold, including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and many more. Along with that is approximately 1,100 employees and 3 studios, Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal. The deal is expected to close at some point between July and September of this year. After the closing of this transaction, Embracer will hold more than 14,000 employees and 124 internal studios, with 230 games in development and over 30 of those being AAA. This division of Square Enix will stand independently alongside other companies such as THQ Nordic and Koch Media. Let's move on to Sekrin, who's going to tell the other side of the story. Hey, Dukes, can we talk about what the flark is going on with Square Enix? Did they seriously just sell off all those great developers and historic IP for some flarking NFT horse crap? I knew they had something against its Western developers, but to do them dirty like that, it just doesn't sit right with me. I hope Eidos, Crystal, and all the other devs get more freedom and respect with Embracer than Square. And hey, maybe we'll get a new Legacy of Kain game with this. All right, Cog. Big news this week. Another acquisition occurs here. We've learned now, as I said earlier, that we can split up these divisions and sell one half to a company, have them inherit the operations. What's the temperature on this? How are you feeling about the overall deal? And more importantly, I think, what do you feel about Square Enix's shift away from traditional game development for NFT, cloud-based, AI, blockchain, all that stuff?
Yeah, this was a shocker to me. More so, it's funny. We out here talking about 300 million. Like, that was so low.
Yeah, no.
like we got it. Like we got
yeah.
I can't believe they let that 300. I mean, I get it. But in retrospect, when you look at the other deals, it is low, right? And it was a surprise. I didn't see this coming. We all kind of, let's be honest, we all kind of assumed, at least, on the Crystal Dynamics standpoint, right, where that
Xbox, right?
Xbox was going to be tied to that. The ties were there. Initiative did put out the statement that this will not affect Perfect Dark. So apparently, contractually, they are locked in. So that's a good sign, because people would online saying, "Hey, is this going to affect it?" But to your question with the NFT stuff, I'm hearing different. I've been doing some digging around. Look, not saying that they're not going to do NFT stuff at all, but what I'm hearing is that the sole reason for that is not that. And that a lot of it is just, this comes down to gamers versus the business. And us as gamers, right? We look at Square, we look at Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, like those are beloved. Like those are like, how could you do this, right? But we gotta take that hat off and put on the business hat for a second. And the business hat says, let's be real. Tomb Raider, I don't know what the financials are over the years, right? How much are you getting back on investment? All the other franchise. We know about Marvel Avengers. We know about Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes, it did better way after on Game Pass, but that didn't stop the front end investment, right? The front end investment, how much money you put in, they thought this was going to be a monster hit. So the way I look at this is Square is like, it's your fault. Hey, West. Hey, you guys are the non-producers. So we're gonna listen. We all felt it was weird when they just let Crystal go to initiative anyway.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We was just like, oh, where they do that at? Like, we've never seen that. So I just think it to me, it's very straightforward. It's business. They feel y'all not producing. And we'll get into other thoughts with the other questions about where else I think this is going. But I just think this is Square trimming the fat. And yes, will they may do NFT? Yes, but I don't think it's the sole reason. That's just my initial, what I've been digging from kind of like financial experts and stuff like that, just to kind of get it. They could be wrong, but they could just go out next week and be like, NFT, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? But that's my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I think some people do overvalue the market power of Tomb Raider and Deus Ex right now, because these are IP that I think were mismanaged by Square, and that's why they didn't take off. The way they split up, apparently, Deus Ex, I think it was Mankind Divided was the last one, right? And it was said that the story was split into two halves instead of making it conclusive, because they wanted to make another Deus Ex to make more money. Tomb Raider just kind of coming to a halt, dishing the series to another developer after the second entry, which Rise of the Tomb Raider was fantastic. I just think a lot of inconsistencies by Square Enix led to these IP floundering. Like Tomb Raider, above everything else here, is a household name. It's super marketable. It's familiar, and it should be at the top of the mountain right now. It really should be, especially like we're pushing for more like female protagonists in games. I feel like Tomb Raider is the female protagonist, right? And so to me, like, this one should be thriving, and I do expect Embracer to like do what they always do, which is make remasters, make remakes, and gain goodwill that way. They've done it with THQ Nordic. We saw them do it even with SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. So stuff like Legacy of Kain, Thief, Deus Ex, they're going to kick tires on. They did it with Kingdoms of Amalur, man. Like, they figured a way for that. Yeah. They're going to kick tires for these games, see what people are interested in, because remasters are such low risk. On the other side with Square Enix, we did learn that Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal were particularly cratering for them, with Marvel Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy combining for $200 million in losses. That's a lot. And I'm just going to throw this out here for Square Enix, right? If y'all didn't try to put a live service game on top of Crystal Dynamics, I don't think you would have had this problem. I don't think it would have been as cratering for you to kind of push it on them and be like, they made the underproducing game. I don't know. I don't really buy into it, because again, Crystal Dynamics, you could tell if you've played Avengers extensively, whether you like it or not, that's fine. You could tell when you play it that this game was supposed to have single player in it. Like, just the first 3 missions are all single player. It's actually pretty good. Actually pretty good. And so that's what's frustrating about it all. Crystal Dynamics is not a bad developer. But this goes back to even the Xbox conversations we had. I remember I was getting lit up because I was like, this is fucking weird. I was like, why is Square Enix doing this? I was getting torn apart.
You did? Yeah, you died on the stake.
And now And now here we are. Here we are. They've been sold off.
Yeah.
So you're not too worried about Square Enix and their NFT blockchain pursuit, even if it's minor?
Nah, I mean, everybody's flirting. You know, that's not in my opinion, that's not the sole reason you do a move like this. You do a move like this, one, because you're bleeding money and you're looking at underperforming divisions, and two, you could be trying to get sexy for someone else.
Yes, I'm thinking the Bethesda pump and dump is on right now, right? Let's get the
Mhm.
NFTs, the blockchain rolling. Let's generate some revenue, and we'll head over to Sony. Has been the likely target. Hey, Final
Hey,
Fantasy is already exclusive, isn't it?
people are outside. People are taking bags. There's good relationships all around.
Yeah, you can tell they want out though. Just the way they're behaving. They're such a bad company to me because they just miss the mark on such obvious things. Like I think of Chocobo GP as one. Like I
Mm.
know a lot of people will link it to Babylon's Fall, which is one I'm probably more passionate about. Like Babylon's Fall is a game that is such a stupid decision. It's like why you gave a live service game to Platinum of all people. I love them as a team. Why Platinum a live service game? I will never know. But outside of that, Chocobo GP, this obviously I'm done. Cute kart racer, nice Final Fantasy characters. You mix them
Iconic.
together.
Mhm.
Here you go. Like we've seen Nickelodeon kart racers do well. We've seen a Hot Wheels racing game do well. People love Forza Horizon. Like racing games are not this obsolete thing. And kart racers, especially with Mario 8 Deluxe getting DLC all these years later, like 5 years later after its launch, it's like, yeah, people love these types of games. So this was an easy one to hit. And they fucked it up. They made it a freemium game. They tried to charge for the freemium stuff, just like they did with Babylon's Fall. So for me, like the quicker someone can figure out what to do with Square Enix, the better. They're one company that I don't care about anymore, man. Like I love what they do with Octopath and Triangle Strategy, that and like Live Alive. Like they have this sliver of what they used to be. I'm not even trying to sound like an OG because I'm playing all their old games now. So I'm
Mm.
like learning about like Final Fantasy VI, for example. But like there's this sliver of how things used to be for them. And then you get how they've modernized that with like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy 16. I'm like, okay, cool. You got Final Fantasy 14 letting them just experiment however the hell they want, as we've learned. But like that little sliver of Octopath and
Mhm.
Triangle Strategy, it's like there's something still alive there. And
Yeah.
these games are selling really well. Like Octopath sold 2+ million copies. Triangle Strategies already surpassed 1 million. Like these games do really well for them, make them millions of dollars. So to me, it's just a matter of like IP management. Like they have
I
divisions that
agree.
know what they're doing, what they're working with, and they have others that just have no clue. And this is what happens when it's why you and I are very thankful for the way Xbox is. You can tell when a suit is running a company in gaming and when it's gamers who are wearing suits are running the company.
No, it's valid. It's valid. And the IPs they have us like they're really beloved. It's just how they've been handling them, right? And either trying to catch a wave or a trend, and we've just seen the bigger ones miss or
Mhm.
not or just not hit the way they thought it was going to hit. And I think that's what's going on here. But yeah, it was surprising. This was very surprising to see this and for the amount. So, and then think about this: people got to realize that people say like how people are very mad at Microsoft right now. I didn't even tell you that. Like
Mhm.
people are furious. Like people are hitting me up like, how did they let this happen?
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. How do you feel that Xbox didn't get in on this? Because I didn't particularly care. Like I thought it was fine.
There was a part of me that yes wanted this to happen, because I felt, especially the Crystal Dynamics part, I feel them and Idols, and I think they kind of can take that hashtag just one stuff that I want and make those really cinematic, graphically hot games that I want. Could you imagine like we all like love Guardians of the Galaxy, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like you look at that, you look at Two Men, and just think of a new IP or just existing Marvel IPs in that format, and it could be really great if Microsoft controlled that. The issue comes down to, and this is why I had to be real with myself. Ge- I had to take my hardcore gamer hat off. Look at it this way: when Activision-Blizzard got announced, my hardcore gamer was not impressed at first. I was just like, okay, I'm kind of over Call of Duty, Overwatch, okay, Diablo, okay. And then it started to sink in, even though I don't do that. Like the masses play COD. Then
Mhm.
they get the mobile arm. Then they get the tails. You know what I'm saying? Then you start to really think about it. You're like, wait a minute. And look how much revenue these games still generate,
Mhm.
right? So business cog was like, yeah, that was the move.
Mhm.
More than my beloved whatever WB, even more than my beloved Sega, right? Like that's the move. That's the smart business move. And I think gamers, we get caught up with the gaming moves, but that's not how business works. Business people looking at that, they like, yo, you're bleeding money. If we take these IPs, like, are we gonna benefit based on the amount of investment you put in? How much money? What is it? 200 million? What was it? What was the number for
300.
Avengers? 300?
200 for Avengers. Sorry, I thought you
Yeah,
were talking about the acquisition. Yeah, 200
that
million for Avengers and
Oh my, like that's
Guardians.
bleeding money. Like that's no one wants no part of that. If you people have to understand, yes, does Microsoft have the money? Yes. But smart businesses don't just throw money out. There's a method to being wealthy, right? In order for you to be wealthy, you have to keep making smart decisions. This Activision thing came, oh, word, the Kotick is about to go. Oh, yo, Satcha, Phil, get over there, make that call. They look ready to see how Microsoft move.
Yeah.
That's what people got to understand. That's how it really works. It's not just about. And remember what I told. I said this to you and Colin when I forgot which Duke Ultimate we did. I always feel Microsoft kind of creeps in when things ain't going well, and it's completely advantageous to them.
Yeah.
Where everything, lawsuits, sexual allegations. Oh, how unfortunate. Here's this check. Here's this sign off.
Yeah.
We'll take that off and you report to me.
Yeah.
Bro.
Not too bad, huh? Yeah.
Masterclass. They got to finish it, but that's how I feel, man. And as much as this hurt me as a gamer, I understood why Microsoft didn't do it. And let's be real, but Xbox fans, embrace it. I mean, it's not like it's Tencent,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
this is a good alternative.
Yeah, I'm a little biased. I know a lot in the building over there. I know a lot of people over there. Shout out to Silver, Deep Silver, Coke Media. I know a lot of people. They're, for the most part, things have been okay, and he's going to be multi-plat. They've been known to take Game Pass bags here and there.
Yes.
Like, you're fine. You're still going to get it. Yeah, I know we want, exclusive.
We didn't lose anything. We didn't gain
lose nothing. That's how I look at this, man. It was shocking, but when I thought about it, I was like, I understood what Microsoft did. Now, Sony, I don't know. Sony may say the same thing, like, yo, y'all bleeding. Like,
let's talk about that. Simon writes in, what's good, Pip-Boy Matty and the Shinobi Cog? Do you think the fire sale of Square Enix... Yeah, you're wearing a shirt. I love that.
That was good.
You think the fire sale of Square's Western companies is them possibly prepping for a bigger sale to Sony? With Microsoft under the microscope for Activision, I don't see them swooping in for the purchase. Thoughts? I feel like we always have these expectations of like, here's how it should go. But it never does go that way. We didn't expect any of these acquisitions that have occurred here, right? We always thought when Square sold, it'd be all Square, all the Sony, and they take advantage of that. I think this is a perfect matchup, but I don't ever want to say like, yes, it's in the bag. But do I think this could be prepping for a bigger sale of some kind somewhere? 100% they're going for the pump and dump. They're absolutely inflating their value, or going to try to, at least with live service ventures. With Final Fantasy 14 being there, that's like a low-key Destiny 2 kind of move for a company, right? Like just being in on the revenue from that is very advantageous. Again, they set up a 10-year roadmap for that. It's going to be around for a while. It's Square Enix's most loved property. It's well taken care of. They're doing a great job with it. So there is benefit and value to a company like Sony just to have that revenue coming in.
Agree 100%. And to be honest, I hate to say it, Xbox fan, if the realist in me says Japanese company going to play more better with another Japanese company. They already have the strong relationship, these unwritten rules about why Final Fantasy VII Remake has still not come to Xbox. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I feel if Microsoft pulls this off, I will bend the knee. This would be amazing to me if they was able to pull this off. Because the Japanese company thing, not that it can't happen, it's impossible. We've heard that it's not impossible, but there are hoops. There is a structure that's different. So if it's not Sony, then you hear about the Tencents and the whomevers, right? Yeah. That's how I feel. But I still want them to still be able to have these games. I love Final Fantasy, so that would hurt me personally. But hey, that's why I got a PlayStation 5. I told my Xbox brother, I'm not waiting. I'm a Final Fantasy 7 nut. I still like a lot of their IPs, and wherever they decide, I'm going, because regardless of what, I'm bending the knee on IPs. I like them games.
Absolutely. We have another write-in from a different Simon. I thought the spelling here was interesting. We have Simon, and then we have Saimon. So this second Simon writes, "Sup, boneless Matty and kneebender Cog. Let me start by saying Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and Legacy Kane are among my favorite franchises of all time. If Microsoft or Sony would have bought these rights, I'd be hyped out of my ass. With Embracer, though, I'm not even cautiously optimistic. Besides buying stuff, what have they actually done? I'm still waiting on anything relevant from Red Faction or Time Splitters, just to name a few. Am I being too cynical, or is there some healthy skepticism justified here? On the bright side, anything is better than Square literally forgetting these franchises exist. Keep up the great work, guys. Have an Embracer group buys your favorite franchise only to brag about it at parties. Kind of day."
So far.
Yeah, let's hope they don't got that kind of energy, right? Do you share the cautious pessimism that Simon has here, that maybe this isn't worth getting too hyped for yet?
Got to see what they're gonna do. You know, I understand where he's at. We still got to see what they're gonna do. I mean, they're weird in the sense that it's like they're not like, as we know them right now. It's not like there's not like this online service or super game, or you know what I'm saying. It's just this acquisition of all this talent under one umbrella, quietly.
15,000 employees.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's just like this. They're not nefarious like Tencent or anything like that, but it's quiet money. It's quiet money. It's like, yo, they got bread over there. They are acquiring. You know, the question for a lot of people, I guess, is there some type of end game? What's the goal? That kind of thing. But, you know, I just look at what they've done so far, and I don't see anything out of pocket yet. So as long as they remain multi-plat, as long as developers get to do what they want to do, you know, I know we talked about WB before, but one thing that scared the hell out of me, with NetherRealm before, one thing that scared the hell out of me is like, I don't want Tencent coming in there with that bag. Could you imagine Mortal Kombat under Tencent?
God. after the crypt we just saw, God almighty, if that was, no, I don't even want to.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. It's not sexy. They don't, you know, set the world on fire with the name. But what do you think about Embracer? I'm curious your thoughts on Embracer.
I don't mind them. A lot of people are like, I know Colin and I have spoken at length about them because they just quietly have gobbled up developer after developer after developer after developer. We've put them on the radar in both our respective shows. Even when I was doing Ham Radio, I was like, watch out. Like, they're buying people. It's not like they're just going to keep buying small fish. Like, they're going to go for someone eventually. So to me, a lot of people theorize like they're just buying up all this IP to eventually sell off. And I'm like, I'm sure that's their escape plan. Like, hey, we got all of this important stuff like THQ, like Koch Media, like now Square Enix's Western Division. Like, they do have valuable stuff that someone could absorb them and get a lot of great stuff out of them. But I think this is a company that's all in. I think this is kind of their buy-in because they say in their own press release, like, we're doing this for AAA development, which we view people will want in the pipeline for years to come. And you know, I haven't loved, for example, if we're going down the Embracer Group hierarchy, like I haven't loved everything THQ Nordic has produced. Like I thought that the Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning HD remaster was a little weak. I thought that the Red Faction remastered, as they would call it, was a little weak. I thought that Biomutant underdelivered. I think because all of these teams, what's great about Embracer Group that I've learned is they have a very independent self-management infrastructure, and just by the sheer volume of employees they have, it's got to be this way. But what it allows these companies to do is have the money, kind of like you'd think with Microsoft, and be able to do what they want. What happens though is you don't have any quality checking, so you get something like Biomutant, which is a combination of a lot of really good ideas, but they go too wide, and because they went too wide, the game suffers for it hand over fist. So I'm optimistic on the front of seeing popular IP come back. Like, I would be very surprised if we didn't see them relatively immediately go like, hey, Legacy of Kain, here it is. Thief was a big thing. Target the people who are feeling a little nostalgic. Because look, Thief 2014, you know, I'm thinking of the Men in Black gif where you just, you know, you see Will Smith just put up the flash and just never happened, right? Thief has a legacy. Don't let it be the Fallout 76 in 2014. Like, don't let it do that to the franchise. Stealth, first-person immersive games. Outside of Dishonored, you're really not getting that. Like, there's a lot of potential to do these remastered trilogies and packages that this company's done pretty well. I think of Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated was way more high effort than it needed to be. It's still the same game, but like graphically, it's all there. It's really impressive. They sold it for a nice price. I think it was like $30. I was happy about that. I tore apart IGN and GameSpot when IGN gave it a 5 and then GameSpot gave it a 2, and I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? For a remake that's literally the same game? Are you kidding me? Do you know what a 2 out of 10 is? I lit them up. That's like one of a rare moments. I was like, no. We're not doing this.
Got it wrong.
But I do think that that's what you look forward to from Embracer, Simon. I think otherwise, new entries, you're very much on the money with Red Faction, with Time Splitters especially. There's been communication on Time Splitters, but it's going to be a while, right? A lot of these things, what sucks about them inheriting the dead IP is they kick tires. They see like who's interested. They go, okay, looks like there's enough interest. Then you start this 4 to 5 year process. So it's a while before they have things to show for it. Not to make excuses on their behalf. You're totally right. They don't have much to show for a lot of their inherited IP. Especially, I've been waiting for a Kingdom Come Deliverance sequel. I've been thinking like Deep Silver's going to put something out on that eventually, right? That game was really successful.
Stay tuned.
But they haven't. Stay tuned. Well, time out. What are you smirking like that for?
Hey, stay tuned. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, I'm in for a good year, baby. Let's go. We have one more write-in here from Miguel Rosales. Hello, dynamic duo. With the recent acquisition of Square Enix, Western Studios by Embracer Group, what do you think the end game for Embracer is? I've had the theory that they've been acquiring all these studios on the cheap to eventually resell the whole operation to a mega corporation like Tencent or NetEase. What do you guys think? Also, does this effectively kill any hopes of Microsoft's acquisitions until they close the deal with the ABK? So we talked a little bit about the former. We talked a bit about like the end goal for Embracer. Do you think, just on a closer, because I know we're an Xbox show, we got to talk about the state of our brand. Do you think this indicates with the cheap deal here, which I do think, even if it was a risk, I sit on the side of the fence, they could have swept in and got this. I don't think they needed to, but do you think this states to us that they're not going to be in on major acquisitions moving forward?
I think so. I think, listen, and this is why a lot of, my Xbox community were mad at me. I told people, like, get that out of your head this year. I've been very staunch on this. Like, Activision-Blizzard means everything.
Mm.
They have to keep their eye on the ball. You can't be, you already under the microscope. You're the evil. Tech, they're coming for the political, there's a lot of political grandstanding that it's coming for big tech. And Microsoft's in the crosshairs. And even though I feel it's unfair because they're not even, what is it? They're like number 3, you know what I'm saying, as far as gaming revenue or whatever. So it's just like, people are trying to make an example. And the fact that they so quickly rescinded on the exclusivity with Call of Duty and put out these forward-facing statements. Oh, not us. We play nice with everyone. We want everyone to enjoy things. Once you do it, you're going through this whole transformation to make your image as saintly and holy as possible. This is not the time to be buying things. Now, granted, maybe a small thing. Maybe if it was Jazz Crystal and they, and Gallagher and the crew said, yo, we really need this. And they push. But again, I'm guessing Microsoft, brass is like, look, even though you may want that, them dudes don't make money.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's not a good investment for us. You finish your little project, you'll continue to have them, lock them in contractually to a sequel or whatever it is. But as far as the rest of them, nah. So I don't see it. I feel everything's on deck. You can't have this deal not go through. You just can't.
Yeah. To add on to that, in my conclusion personally, is a lot of us Xbox fans, I got to check us for a moment here.
Go.
We got to realize something here in the world of the business. Not everyone is waiting to be acquired by Xbox. And I know it's fun. You don't have to applaud me because it's fun to speculate, right? Like, it's fun to speculate. I get caught up in it. We talk about the possibilities, but a lot of us have this expectation. Let's talk about this right here. This is a very realistic situation that even we've painted here on our own show, and we're guilty of it. So I want to hold us accountable. Activision-Blizzard King deal goes through. We're talking about it. We're like, yeah, this is realistic. Who's next? We talk about Crystal Dynamics because they're partnering up for Perfect Dark. We're like, after the ABK deal, we can swoop in and grab them, no problem. It's like, are they waiting for us though? Are they? Is Square Enix waiting for us to make that deal in a year's time? I don't think so. They're going to do what's best for them in their failing division, and they're going to get rid of them. So I'm sure Xbox was able to check in. I'd be surprised if they weren't just keeping their ear to the ground. Like, what's the price tag? What are we looking at here? I don't think they're going to pull the trigger because, much like Cog stated, the mission is get the deal done for Activision, right? You bent the knee on Call of Duty. You're doing everything you can to look good to regulators. Keep it that way. Sometimes I think that with an individual studio, like we said with NetherRealm, I think you do get involved.
Yes.
I think a whole brand, though, that's not going to happen like what we're seeing here. And again, it ties back to the fact that these companies aren't waiting for Xbox to buy them. They're not waiting for anyone to buy them. They look at the best deal at the time they're ready to sell, and they take it. And that's all there is to it.
That's literally it. And the last thing I'll say is, like, again, my Xbox community, I love y'all, but it's like, this is not baseball cards, fam. Like, dudes are like, yo, you got to go trade and get this and make sure you got that card. And like, it doesn't work like that. You said it beautifully. Like, people are going to be available to be acquired during this period, and no one's waiting around for Microsoft to finish whatever. If the bag is there, they taking the Embracer bag, they're taking the Tencent bag. Bungie took the Sony bag. Like, that's what's and I think that's what the frustration is, because the reality of the trading card and thing is now starting to evaporate when they seen this deal, because everyone in their heart tied Crystal to Xbox. And now the reality sinks in. Oh man, Capcom. Oh man, Square. If they get tantalized by something in 2022, oh no, it's not going to go there. That's the reality. Get it in your head now.
Exactly. So with that, we move on to number 2. This popped right after our show. I was annoyed again because our show is cursed. Xbox has confirmed this past week that they'll be hosting the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase 2022 on June 12th, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. The post on the Xbox Wire is vague, mentioning it, quote, will include everything you need to know about the diverse lineup of games coming soon to Xbox ecosystem, including upcoming releases to Game Pass on Xbox and PC, end quote. Of course, on top of that, we have just learned that it'll likely be about an hour and a half long. I'm going to turn to our first write-in here from Steve Perry, who writes, hey, Matty and Cog. With Xbox's summer showcase coming up, I'm thinking back to last year's showcase. Most of the community thought it was Xbox's best showcase in years. But I remember hearing a story a couple months later that Phil wasn't over the moon with it. I can't remember where I heard this, but apparently in a meeting after the showcase, he said, we still have a lot of CGI trailers, didn't we? What you're thinking of, by the way, Steve, is Jeff was on one of my videos, Jeff Grubb, or this show, and we were talking about Xbox revealing things, and he said there that this was something Phil had stated. To your question, Steve writes, with that said, my question is simple. What do you think the ratio of CGI to gameplay trailers are going to be at this year's showcase? Thanks, and have the community is happy with my work, but the boss man ain't having it kind of day. So, Cog, it's been announced. We've talked about it extensively, where it's a little bit old news now. We do apologize again for those who don't know, we record our shows on Wednesday evenings. It's the latest we can go in our current infrastructure right now. So I apologize we were late to this one, but it times out well for the actual showcase, because that showcase is happening on the 12th, and then we'll record for the 15th. Anyway, Cog, how do you feel about the CGI to gameplay trailer ratio this year coming around? And what are you feeling about the showcase in general for Xbox and Bethesda?
Excited. Didn't a little surprised because the announcement came kind of late. We didn't know how they were going to move in a non-E3 2022 world. I'm a little disappointed because I already booked a flight, and I'm going to be in GCX that weekend. So I'm like hurt because I'm like, damn. But I'm going to find a way to get a conference room, bring a laptop, remote in, do the live stream with the Lords, you know what I'm saying, which is tradition. It's literally when we go live is when they do this damn show. So, yeah, look, I'm excited. I think the CGI to trailer to gameplay, if I had to quantify, I'm going to say 70-30 probably gameplay. I think they've been raked over the coals on gameplay so much. I think that we will still see CGI though. As far as stuff upcoming, down the pipe, to see how much they excite us with future projects. That's going to be the key. The key to me is going to be the direction of how they want to do it, because there's so many ways they could go. There's so many ways, you know what I'm saying? You got your Matty's beloved Avowed. He's been waiting. He's been patient.
I was wrong about that one. I thought last Game Awards was going to be it with the way they worded it on the Xbox Wire, but my read of the situation was wrong.
I mean, there's so many ways they can go. I mean, I think for right now, how I'm feeling right now, 70% gameplay, there will be, in my opinion, more of a focus on 2022, what's coming this year. And I think gamers just first of all, I'm not on this calm expectation stuff, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, calm. No, I'm not. I want to see the world.
Not this year.
Yeah, not this year. I want to see the world. I'm not on this temper, nothing. Like, show me, blow my socks off, impress me, because your top half of the year from a first party standpoint was not it. Even though you survived.
It wasn't even existing.
It wasn't existing.
It couldn't be anything.
Even though you're winning MPD, even though you're next generation leader per quarter, I get it. Be thankful that is the case. Now show people and get people excited that invested in this ecosystem, what this hope truly is. We know Starfield was going to be there, but okay, go.
No. I'm pointing at you. I'm hyping you up.
Cool. Yeah, you don't start. You got we bought because of hope. We get it. Now let's deliver. Let's get Matty his Avowed. Let's get this Hellblade. Let's show some things that you got to show some future. You can't just keep it all 2022. That's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at. Let's see as more information comes out, as we learn more. But happy to see.
Yeah. I am right there with you, expecting mostly gameplay. Expectations are very high for this show as well. They got a lot to deliver. But yeah, I think this is the year you can't afford to come out with CGI. And if you look at the internal studios and where they should be at in development, they should be in a position where most are gameplay ready, right? With the typical development timeline of like that 3 to 5 year window, typically 4. When you really look at that and where like Avowed should be by this point in time, especially since we last saw it when it was announced. When you think of Hellblade, which you've already seen in action, I think it might be time to put a release window on that. Just be like 2023 with some more gameplay. Fable should be in a gameplay ready state. I think they punt that one. I want to see that, but I do think that's one that you could show. I think there are a number of games that they have, possibly Contraband might be ready to show. That's been in development for a while. I think that whatever Project Cobalt is from In Exile, that's one I could see being a CGI. Because if anything I've learned through studying Xbox throughout the years is they have a formula of CGI, seen a couple years, gameplay later. And so like I could see stuff like Compulsion's game, In Exile's next game. I could see those being CGI. But what's happened is Xbox has created this kind of weird expectation for us where the best feeling you can get during a showcase is seeing the gameplay and be like, yo, what is this? It's not, like a new IP, right? Like let's say Compulsion games. You're like,
love that.
You're like, what is it? It's running in real time. You're like, this is new. I don't know what this is, right? Instead of the CGI, you get the name, you get the title, the buzzwords, and you're like, okay, now that this is a known quantity, we'll see in a couple of years for what it actually is. I'd love to see them just come out with gameplay for a fresh reveal. Like Redfall, I think would have benefited from that. I don't think it was wise to like cram that in and be like, here we go. We're gonna reveal this 4-minute CGI trailer to conclude the show. I think that's a game that should have had gameplay because a lot of people were doubting that one. And I totally get why after Deathloop. So you nodded along there. I was like, how can I
late? I'm like,
yeah,
damn.
I'm teasing, but yeah, I expect more gameplay this year. And to add on to that, for this showcase in general, because we haven't had a chance, even though it's kind of old news now, we're still going to talk about it. This is a show that they need to nail. I know a lot of people are hyped about 2021 Xbox. You and I, Cog, have always remained stern fathers of the Xbox community, being like, look, number one, we said PlayStation was outside in 2022. Got to be ready for that. But number two, I don't know if you co-signed this mentality, but I was like, that was a good showcase last year. 2021 was a good showcase. To say it was like the absolute best they've done. To say
I wasn't there. No,
I was not there either.
Yeah, people was on that, and I was like, nah, it wasn't the best. Nah. It was solid. It was good, but not like, we could
too
still
much stuff that we were familiar with, even at the end of the day. Like, and that was good stuff, right? Forza was great, Psychonauts was great, Halo was great. But they were all known quantities. This year, Xbox has the rare element of surprise. They can actually catch us off guard.
Yes.
That makes for the most fun showcases. And the things we're expecting, Avowed, Starfield at least, should be somewhat ready to show off, where it's time to me, Cog, I want to get your thoughts on this.
Let's go.
This has to be the start of the new generation.
Talk to me.
Like the new era.
Preach
the new
it,
era, right?
Preach it.
This has to be it. You can't do another punted show where it's like 2023, the fun begins. It's like, no, like this is the type of show. I want to talk to Anthony C here because it'll tie into what I'm about to talk about. You pre-announce things. Anthony C writes, "Hey, nipple sucker Matty and Master Cheeks fan Cog." With the announcement of Microsoft Summer Showcase, what is one dream announcement for each of you? And do you think other companies will follow suit in announcing shows to keep the E3 spirit alive in mid-June? Keep up the great work and have a let's sell a bunch of fantastic IP so we can invest heavier into NFTs kind of day. Thank you, Anthony. To my point that I was making a second ago, this is where you go like, hey, did we illegally agree we're going to make New Vegas 2? Okay, announce it. Like you've defined your future in certain ways with like an Outer Worlds 2. But if you could define your future in a loud way, like we're doing Starfield this year, we're doing Avowed next year, and sometime in the future, you're going to get New Vegas 2. That's the type of shit you need to. I get unbiased because these are all games I really like.
Let's go.
This is the type of shit you need to come out with because the time for playing is over, right? We've seen with the March NPD numbers, people are buying into the Xbox ecosystem. They were the best-selling console. That's excellent, right? We want to see them thriving because they have a great ecosystem with Game Pass. But I'd be damned if I didn't say a lot of people are buying in, as you said, Cog. They're buying in for the future. They're seeing all the studios they're buying, the Call of Duties even, and they're like, yo, that's on Game Pass. They're buying into a lot of the ideas that Xbox is fueling with their ecosystem. So part of that is these big exclusives from Bethesda. When they acquired Bethesda, their exact words were, this is a deal made about getting great exclusives where platforms that Game Pass exists. On platforms, sorry, that Game Pass exists. So to me, it's like time to show that. Time to really show what you're made of here and really surprise people. Like, do you think, Cog, on the mystery reveal front, do you think like we finally get a look at Indiana Jones maybe? Do you think we finally see Wolfenstein 3, which was supposed to be happening at some point? What was your read on a dream announcement for you, but also surprises that could be tucked in this show?
I want to backtrack first to everything you said. Sure. I'm in 100% agreement, like 1000%. Like this is I don't want to get into hyperbole, but this is the most important Xbox show. But it is in a sense that this is now the new era. And to me, I look at everything on their roadmap. 2023 was the year we had to get to, right? The end of 2022 with Starfield as the kickoff, to me, represents the next new generation of Xbox. This ain't your daddy's Xbox anymore. This ain't your mama's. Like, this is a new generation of Xbox, and this is what excites me because when you look at that roadmap, that's where everything should, in theory, line up, right? Everything we talk about, the Avoweds, the Hellblades, everything, we name them, right? So my thing is, they are known for the Halo Gears of Forza stuff, right? We got that. Now you start getting people into the hype as to why this investment was worth it. You have to show what things are cooking. To me, you got the potential to now do your own version of, I know it's early to say, it might sound hyperbole, like the E3 of Dreams scenario, like for your own self, where you start putting these magical scenarios together, whether it be, like you said, the New Vegas by Obsidian, or these dream projects, and also Elder Scrolls is coming in. All like, also, when you use the tag of Microsoft and Bethesda, you're not separating Bethesda. So to me, you need to let Bethesda do Bethesda, right? So if that is an Indiana Jones that's cooking, and if that is a Wolfenstein 3 that's cooking, you got to get the hype train, because the casual still, you have to reinforce to the casual, Bethesda's ours, and this is what is coming for us, and you need to be a part of this ecosystem. We've seen many people come up to us at LSM event, yo, I was in, man. Once that, that Bethesda announcement, man, you know what I'm saying? We seen I know it's anecdotal polls, but polls are like, yo, when the Call of Duty or whatever, yo, we know it's gonna come in the game. This is the time now. Now is the time that, and if it goes according to plan, right, and release dates and things like that, you could really start snowballing with a lot of quality titles and a lot of big names in your ecosystem. I think you got to go for it. I think
Yeah.
this is it. Like it's time to get excited. This is what the Xbox fan was waiting for, and the potential is great. And these are the type of things that could win a generation. So let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can't afford to go soft on this one. And our good friend Randall Thor did say that apparently through the grapevine, he's heard that all the internal studios have stuff ready to show, which even you remove Rand's report out from the mix, you look at the status of the development of these games, how many years they've been worked on for, they should be at a time period where they're ready to be shown. They're ready to be talked about. So that's why a lot of people call it hype. You're hyping us up. It's like, no, there's actually zero hype behind it. It's like, it's just time. It's people have waited long enough. It's not even impatience. It's like with the release of Redfall, probably starting things off, that's the beginning of like new era of Xbox, like new IP, new ideas, new games. The studios they bought back in 2018 finally might start releasing stuff in an exclusive capacity. That's what it's about. I also have a prediction. Ooh. And we'll do a full prediction show, of course, by the way, for those who are wondering. We will definitely be doing one. We'll be doing a reaction show. We got all that covered. Don't worry. My feeling is Xbox definitely wants to replicate the month-to-month success that they had last year. I think that was wise of them, and I think it paid off in a powerful way, and it let them just dominate the conversation all throughout the fall. How do you feel about right now we have Redfall, which even though we've heard might slip, how do you feel about Redfall, which is currently slated for summer 2022? We know Bethesda with Ghostwire isn't afraid to be like, hey, this game you haven't heard about in a while is coming out next month. See you there. So I was thinking Redfall could receive that treatment September, Forza Motorsport in October, and Starfield in November for that 1, 2, 3 exclusive punch. I don't know if they'd have something for December again, but how do you feel about where I'm envisioning things? I think they want to have the 1, 2, 3 punch in the holiday era. And I think that surrounding those pieces are going to be a ton of day one Game Pass games, much like we're starting to see like June it begins, Shadowrun Trilogy, day one on Game Pass. It's like, okay, we're starting to see like the beginning and end of these blocks come into play. So do you feel this prediction of mine?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think that's strong. I think that's super strong. I mean, it fits tradition. It fits pattern of history. We know Microsoft tends to backload the end of the year. We know ideally. Yeah. I think it's the only wrench that could happen is if Redfall doesn't make said date, right? But it's like, according to how they envision it to come out, that's supposed to be their summer title. So if you have that, lead right into, like I said, the motorsports, all the games you mentioned, like, and then end it with the crescendo, you end it with the Starfield. Yes, I think that's super strong. I don't really think that's too hard to deviate from or too out of pocket to talk about.
They have so many options, though. I do get afraid that they might mess it up, right? I could see a situation where they have so much content submitted that they make certain cuts and people are like, well, where was this? Where was that? What happened with this game over here? I could see a situation like that realistically.
But I'm with you in the sense that you've got to show what 2018 was your investment. You've got to show what studios are working on. You got to get, like, we know because, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Grubb, like, but you've got to now have a visual to, oh, that's what Ed Exile is doing. Oh, that's what Compulsion is doing. All these projects, Pentiment, Midnight, Dragon, you got to have, what is it? Now you see, oh, and then you just throw that. Those are the ones you're allowed a little CGI, a little, you know what I'm saying? Because those are, we allow that. But yeah, like this is I don't want to get hyperbolic, but this is the Xbox conference of dreams now. You've got to start setting the stage as to why you did these investments and why this wait was worth it. Because this is where we're moving forward. This is new generation. And they got their chest out. They're saying a lot. You both know. They're saying a lot right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's see. let's see now. We waited. We've been patient. It's time.
Yeah, Phil was saying he's very excited for this one, so
Yeah, Jason
we
Ronald's
will see.
tweeting. Everyone's outside. They're
Mhm.
loving the rehearsal. Oh yeah, like now I know they've been doing this. This is the biggest one. Yeah, I know
They do like that.
they do
Yeah.
like that. But from what we know, based on cadence, release schedule, so on and so forth, this is supposed to be
Hmm.
it now. So let's go.
Absolutely, right there with you. With that, we'll move on to number 3. After the recording of our last episode, much like a lot of this news, Activision-Blizzard shareholders have voted to approve the Microsoft acquisition. This took place on April 28th, and more than 98% of the shares voted at a meeting that were in favor of the deal proposed. Since then, there has been a new development. New York City is moving forward with suing Activision-Blizzard on the grounds that the deal was rushed to get CEO Bobby Kotick and others out of danger with the impending lawsuits and issues of misconduct within the company. The city has pressed about the documents since last fall and are now requesting access to Activision's books to learn more information about the cited 5 other suitors interested in originally acquiring the company, board memos, and more. Cog, how do you feel about another lawsuit? We know our good friend Rick Hogue had checked in on this one. He said it's about as close to nothing as you can get. I personally just want to go ahead and quell any fears that this isn't going to interfere with the deal in any way, shape, or form. But this might put a pin in the golden parachute of Bobby Kotick if successful. So, what's your feeling on what's happening here in another lawsuit for Activision?
I know it's crazy. Look, shareholders go sharehold. I did expect this 98% or whatever, but to the Robert situation, you know,
Robert.
hey, it would be unfortunate for him.
Mm.
He thought he would get off scot free. So we got to see how that's gonna. I will say this is a very interesting. Every day it's a new wrinkle, it's a new thing. But with all that being said, my gut still feels this deal is still going to go through. But Microsoft has to do due diligence. They can't take their eye off the ball. And because of all of this, that's why I just think other acquisitions are just probably not going to be the big acquisitions are not going to be in play because as you can see, every day it's a new thing. It's a new thing. This one's involved with that one. This one's suing this. Golden parachutes to take it away. Oh, they got someone in on the board or the inside. It's just always something with this situation. So that's where I'm
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, the approval doesn't come as much of a surprise. I think, without sounding disrespectful here, anyone with a brain expected it to be approved on the Activision front. It's about the regulatory approval process that a lot of us are concerned about. That's where like the 70-30 split does come into play, where a lot of us feel like this should go through, but there is always the chance that it may not. And that's something that I hope people remember if this deal does fall through and they come for us. They're like, please remember, we did say there's always a chance this falls
Oh
through,
yeah.
although I feel confident it will be completed.
I'm in the same pocket as you.
Yeah. Otherwise, though, the people suing Activision Blizzard are also shareholders, and they're arguing that they should have got more money out of the deal because of Bobby's ineptitude, that they cost them a lot of money. And I feel like they could get something rolling here because people are going to be like, I want a bag too. Again, I don't think this will interfere with the deal, but it may make it where after the deal is done, after the payouts occur, that some money may make its way back to these people in this lawsuit. Put a pin in that golden parachute.
Yeah, shareholders going to sharehold.
They like money. All right, number 4. On our last episode, we spoke at length about the direction Ubisoft is trending in as rumors of some type of acquisition began to percolate. A new report has come in from Seeking Alpha, and it states that Ubisoft is currently considering a partnership with a private equity firm, which would acquire the company, thus preventing any takeover attempts. Is this what we call the bad karma ending, Cog? It's like, no one really gets them, huh? They just get to flounder on their own with a private equity firm now. We can't save old Assassin's Creed from becoming this friggin' live service franchise. They're just going to dig their heels in the sand and become someone else functioning arguably worse.
Bad karma ending.
It really is, though. Like, this is just like this Uno reverse card of like, you didn't think of this one, though, and completely flipping the script on its head. So how are you feeling about where Ubisoft may be heading in the future?
I hate this. I just don't care.
Like,
like,
you're giving them the Square Enix Matty treatment, huh?
I don't care. It's I had this big argument with King on this. He's so pro Ubisoft. I get it.
Really?
He's super pro.
Really? This
And
man,
so
all bougie with his games, is pro Ubisoft? I got to
I'm
talk to him
just
about
like,
that.
yeah, bro. It's like, and he's so anti WB, and I'm just like, like they just you could just Ubisoft plus them and be done. Like you
Mm,
don't need to acquire. And then they're ahead. Look how much headroom and employees and infrastructure. That's a complicated deal to deal with. And then it's like they've got their own issues, right?
mm,
You know,
mm,
so it's like too much of a headache. And I'm just gonna be real with y'all. I think they're on the decline as far as from an IP outside of Assassin's Creed. And even though I don't care about DDR, I know it sells or whatever, right? But the rest of them IP, let's be real, like
mm,
they're on the decline. They're not popping to me. To me, like I look at a lot of was it Division, Ghost Recon, even Far Cry. You could say it's peaked on some level. I don't have all the numbers. Again, people could correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe people like, oh, Cog, you're wrong here, the financials, and I'll stand corrected. But to me, I don't look at them like how I used to look at them maybe 5, 6 years back. And I felt they were this. Like, you know, when they first started, I was like, yo, but I just feel they just went into that template and the live service thing. And it just, and I know Siege is doing well. I know. I just don't, there's no need for me to me, Microsoft to be running out there with no open checkbook to them when you could just do the EA play, throw
mm,
them in the service and cut
mhm.
them a bag that way and be done. That's me where I'm at.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, when I was on the As Always podcast, I talked to Lasers and Tyler Dynamite, and we were talking about Ubisoft extensively and like where they're at as a company, and definitely the live service route for them is what's going to keep them afloat for the time being. Is they've created what is effectively a new genre where they defined open world games for generations, and then they kind of left that behind and just created what's called like junk food open world content, where a lot of people love it. Like when I went hard against Far Cry 6, I was like, this is just not good. Like it's not a good game because it's literally the same shit. You've played Far Cry 6 already. Is kind of how you could review it. Like you could just say that. It's like my review for Far Cry 6 would be the exact same as it is in Far Cry 3. Same mechanics top to bottom, same open world
Mm.
traversal, top to bottom, just a different storyline. And that's annoying. That's frustrating. But for a lot of people, they love it. They're like, that was the biggest line of defense I got. What's the big deal? I love this type of game. I
Yeah.
love the same thing over and over. I'm like, okay, like I'm not here to tell you what you like and dislike, but a lot of people, and I say this again and again and again until I'm blue in the face, a lot of people forgot how good Ubisoft was in light of their open world regurgitation. They forgot about the Prince of Persia's. They
Mm.
forgot about Batman Vengeance. They forgot
Mm.
about the early Ghost Recon games. They thought about like Ghost
Ooh.
Recon Future Soldier, some of the
Yes.
mid-generation ones in the
Yes.
360, PS3
Oh,
era.
man. Future
They
Soldier.
forget about their work on Splinter Cell,
Mm.
lesser. We hear a lot of complaining about that, but they forget about the early Assassin's Creed games and how transformative they were. There's a lot of Beyond Good and Evil is another one I'll throw out there.
Mm.
And a lot of these games I'm talking about, these series came out in like a 5-year stretch from Ubisoft. Like they were just on another level and they were doing a ton of different things. And a lot of people just forget that. And they think that this is all they've ever done. And they haven't.
Right.
And that's why I like went hard on Far Cry 6. I'm like, this is a bad direction for the company. And it's only going to sink them because they can't keep this content output up for big open world games like this. And
Yeah.
it's why you're seeing them go live service, co-op, multiplayer.
Mhm.
So I'm right there with you. It's like I struggle to really care, even though like when I see a new Assassin's Creed game roll around COG, I kind of can't help myself. It's like a guilty pleasure now.
I feel it.
It's like, oh man, I still like this series. I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got tired of it. Odyssey reinvigorated it while a lot of people had killed it for them because they thought it got bloated, which is 100% accurate. But I loved Odyssey. I loved its characters. Valhalla, I also thought was really great. I
Mm.
liked it a lot. But despite that, you can still recognize that their type of design in games is just fundamentally flawed. It's got to improve. And I think Elden Ring hard exposed them and accelerated like the mainstream awareness of that. And so I think they're going to be in trouble for a year or two to come because people are going to be much harder on them.
They've got to pivot. I agree.
Yeah. Number 5. This one's really cool, Cog. I'm excited about this one. While official sales figures are tough to come by in the world of Xbox, we now have a gauge on how well Psychonauts 2 did. I want to make sure I apologize in advance here because I don't know how to pronounce the first part of this lady's last name. It says word comes by way of Lisette Titre Montgomery, I believe.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah.
I'm gonna roll with that one, but
Yeah,
apologies if I
I
got it
think you're
wrong.
good.
Double Fine's art director, who writes in her goodbye post to the developer that Psychonauts 2 is the best rated and selling game in the company to date. Now, what's a good reference point for this is that Psychonauts 1, as of 2015, was the best selling game in the company to date at 1.5 million copies sold. So it's fair to say that Psychonauts 2 has surpassed that, probably closing in on 2 million copies sold. And this is a game that was day one on Game Pass. Granted, it was multi-platform, but this is a weird one, a sequel to a cult classic. It was crowdfunded, so they had free copies going out to people who backed it on Fig. I was really pleased to see this. It's a game that really deserved it, and it really punched above its weight in a lot of areas, especially animation. So how are you feeling about a really surprise hit here in the sense of sales, by the way, not the actual quality of the product from Double Fine?
Yeah, good for them. Good for them. They like I said, good title, unique. It's good to see them rewarded, for this genre of game,
Mm,
and it just bodes well for the future. I think they have tremendous potential. I really do. And I again, back to the whole but conference. These are the type of studios that you get excited. What are they working on next? What
right.
could Tim? You know what I'm saying? Like that excites me. And
Mhm.
that's to me what this E3 has to represent. So that's why I tie it in. Salute to them. Microsoft helped them get it across the finish line. Let's see what's next. That's where I'm
Yeah,
at.
absolutely. It's a good testament to how they improved the game too, right? Not only crossed the finish line, but like the boss fights are one of the best parts of the game, and they've openly said that wouldn't have been there without Microsoft. So
Yeah.
good effort on all fronts. Congratulations to Double Fine. Love the game and excited to see whatever they do next. They got a fan of me now after that one.
No doubt.
All right, number 6. This one's really interesting. Balan Wonderworld is widely regarded as 2021's largest flop, and many scratch their heads as to why Square Enix even bothered releasing it. Notice a trend here, by the way. Behind the game was Yuji Naka, which filled some fans out there with a level of confidence given his history with Sonic, Phantasy Star, and Knights. However, he left the company in 2021 considering retirement, and now we have a clearer picture as to why this was the case. There's a full transcript of a Twitter thread he had posted. I'm going to read it here, so get cozy. About 6 months before Balan Wonderworld launched, a business direct was made to remove me as director of Balan Wonderworld. So I filed a lawsuit against Square Enix. I would like to share additional information now that the trial is concluded. I believe that they don't care about games nor their fans. Square Enix is a bad company. According to official documents, the cause of my removal as director of Balan Wonderworld is due to 2 main points. This decision was ultimately carried out by the producer, promotional partner, sound director, project director, and human resources. One point was when a YouTuber was to perform and publish the score of in game music for promotional purposes. We got in trouble because we believed that it was odd that a ghostwriter would write an arranged song for a brand new game. So we asserted that the original song should be used rather than an arrangement. Furthermore, the business relationship with ArsFest fell apart due to my comments about ArsRest submitting the final build without fixing bugs, even though there were problems during development, and I was pushing for further polish. After this, Oshima spoke to the producer, Fujimoto, about this. The second point is that Oshima wrote in an email to Fujimoto saying, quote, I gathered the development staff and informed them about pushing back the trial phase of development. This decision was made by producer Fujimoto. Let's do our best for Mr. Fujimoto. The staff applauded and cheered. This was wholly unexpected, and we were very touched. The staff who had recently been dejected were instantly revitalized. Thank you very much. The entire staff will do our best, end quote. I don't have anything to do with the development timeline because that is created by the producer, not me, the director. Such tight deadlines are decided by the producer. Some didn't seem quite right. I don't believe it's a good idea to release an entirely original game only to utilize arrangements. I believe that original music is what people are drawn to and makes them crave more. I believe that a good game is made by working hard until the very end and only then hoping fans will enjoy it. I think it's strange to remove the director who comments on the development without having been consulted to his opinions and then not allowing him to be involved in any capacity due to time constraints. I was banned from sharing and liking posts on social media sites, and so I don't believe that Square Enix is taking good care of their fans. There were so many kind comments and wonderful fan art for Balan Wonderworld, and I'm sincerely sorry that I could not support you. I'm also truly sorry to the fans who bought and supported Balan Wonderworld. Moving forward, I can finally respond to you if you mention or tag me on social media. I think it's completely fair to ask for game improvements, since we were the team making the game. And if we couldn't do that, we should have been at least able to discuss it. But it seems that we couldn't even do that. I genuinely don't believe that Square Enix care to support the game. For example, in Sonic the Hedgehog, 2 weeks before going gold, we changed the mechanics where if you had a single ring, you would not die. Even up to the very end, we are trying to improve the game. And I hope that everyone is still enjoying those games today. Game creators are supposed to improve their games until the very end. And I believe that it is very wrong to prevent them from carrying out this goal. I asked my lawyer to negotiate with the business partners to at least allow me to address issues on Balan Wonderworld's development until the very end, but they ignored my request, so I ultimately decided to file a lawsuit in court. It is because of this that Balan Wonderworld received all the criticism and comments you all know well. It is quite unfortunate that a project I spearheaded from the beginning would turn out this way. I personally believe that it is a true disgrace that Balan Wonderworld was released in the state that it was in. I wanted to show the world an action game in its proper light. Therefore, I believe that Square Enix and Ars Rest are companies that care about neither games nor their fans. All right, Cog. A lot here. A lot of tea spilt. I've read certainly a lot. They've heard my voice enough. Let's pass it to you. What do you feel about what Yuji Naka had to say about Balan Wonderworld?
Bro, he put the business out. Yo, like, damn, he went hard, bro. Like
we haven't seen a call out like this, I think, really.
I haven't seen anything like this to this level. And yo, this is a legend. This is a legend in the game. You know, the Sonic story touched me. You know, I remember that. Like, that's a core mechanic. And I didn't know that was at the very end, you know, when Sonic dies, if he has a ring that mechanic kept alive. And it goes to show you the care with game development. And if these allegations are true, then I gotta be fair. But if they are true, this is damning. This is like, there's certain visionaries in our industry that even if, let's just say, you feel that you don't want to go in the direction they're going, it's just a certain level of respect. And if he is truly treated this way, it's just a bad look. We just talked about Square earlier, and we talked about mismanagement, and we talked about, how they're handling IPs, and we don't know what the culture is in there, right? And look, this is Sonic, this is Knights, this is Phantasy Star, this is one of the OGs in the game. Like, for him to come out this brazen and then I guess to be silenced, it's a bad look. It's just a bad look. And it does make me think about the overall picture of what's going on over there. And we talked about, Kingdom Hearts, and we talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake and when things are coming. Is it a possibility that Square just has lost its way? And this is just bad. I've never seen anything like this. I'm literally, bro, I'm floored when I was like, man, this is damning. This I don't even work. I feel like if I was in that building, man, and you got Yuji coming out like this. Woo, just, it doesn't look good, man. I don't know what to say. I've never seen disrespect on this level. And this is a legend. So
I do know. I'll say this in Square Enix's defense.
Okay, let's go.
Bring me context. Not even context. It's just, I do know that a lot of problems with Balan Wonderworld were kind of like baked into the design, like just the way the game played and functioned, that would inherently make it where even 6 more months probably wouldn't have fixed the issues, but a lot of people had problems with bugs that I think could have been ironed out. Again, though, there were some problems with just the design of this game that really brought it down a level. So I do want to make it clear for people listening that from what I've seen, I've not played this game. I don't know if I ever will.
Me neither.
You got to pay me to play this one.
Yeah.
That apparently the design of it was not good. But if you are removing the director from the equation on many fronts, even musically, which is a huge part of setting the tone and atmosphere and everything for the game, if you're removing him from the picture before officially being like, you're out, that will disrupt a game's development cycle. You bring everything to the head of creative or the director's position. You let it cross their desk. It doesn't mean that they're immediately going to, no, we're not going to do that. They have to have a say. They have to have input. They are spearheading the entire project. And I look at it like anyone. It doesn't even have to be me who's working on my own game. But Cog, if you were working on a game, imagine if you were overseeing the whole production and they're not letting you make any calls and they're not letting you get involved in the conversation, right? They're just pulling you out. No, man, that's not good, right? So while this game had trouble written all over it, I do think that some internal politics here were at play. I've definitely read stories where apparently Yuji Naka in some instances had problems with other studios. So this isn't brand new, but on this level, I'm sorry, but given Square's recent history, I'm very much leaning in Yuji's favor here. We have yet to hear the other side of it. Maybe because it is a public court case that is confirmed now and is finished. We may get more details in due time. But for now, yeah, this just paints the picture as to why I'm not really a fan of Square anymore. But it's a shame to see because Balan, I remember when this game was announced. It was at a Nintendo Direct. I remember it was announced, and I actually remember like bouncing my chair. I was like, yo, this actually looks really fun. I was all about it. So they lost the memo somewhere, and that was a couple of years out from launch. So it kind of lines up with the timeline that Yuji was painting for us.
Yeah. The only thing, again, in fairness, I would just love to see what Square's internal case against him is. And, was it a situation where they feel he wasn't running the project right? Clearly, it definitely seems like some type of butting of heads. And in fairness, sometimes, the legends, things pass them by sometimes, and with modern game design, right? You know what I'm saying? You had to say his name though.
I'm sorry. I know you love him.
My man out there,
I know, but we all saw Shenmue 3. We know what happened.
Look, man,
I didn't play that yet though. That's
right.
one that I need to play it, but like that, the reviews push scared me from that one.
Yeah. Look, it is what it is, and I will say, in fairness, some legends, it's like that old veteran player. Sometimes we talk those sports analogies of, he's good, but he'll give it to you once and then blew a couple of nights, but not consistently.
I can make a great sports analogy for anyone who watched the Rangers Penguins game triple OT because the goal got called off in the third period when the Rangers clearly won the game. And I'm thinking I'm watching the ESPN coverage. I got my arms full and lean back. I'm like, they're going to fucking rip these refs apart. Like, they got Mark Messier in the building. I'm like, yo, they're going to tear them apart. It's like, I think the ref made a great call here. This is the right play. I'm like, oh, you are old, man. You are old if you think that was a good call. So I get you on that, right? Sometimes the legends do miss. Sometimes they don't got it anymore.
Go Pens. Anyway, I had to do it.
I forgot you're about that.
You forgot. Yeah, I kept quiet. I'm waiting for the right moment. But no, to your point, sometimes the legends don't have it. So we'll see. The truth gonna come out. Either way, we're gonna see.
Very enlightening thread here about Yuji Naka. It's on his Twitter if you want to read it and see the translated version. Anyway, let's move on to number 7. We're going to talk about Ubisoft again, where Skull and Bones gameplay has leaked and Ubisoft confirmed it's real from a recent technical test. Separately, Ubisoft has moved Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake to Ubisoft Montreal, who originally worked on the trilogy back in the early 2000s. And a lot of people are like, this is where it should have been in the first place. But I imagine a lot of the talent has left the building already. Have you had a chance to check out the Skull and Bones gameplay that I've linked here?
I haven't seen the new one, but I remember seeing it and I was like, oh, okay, this looks like...
Not much has changed.
Oh.
Yeah, you should watch it because I saw it and I was like, haven't I seen this? And I looked at the date. I was like, oh, this is new. What the hell? It's like the biggest complaint this game got was that you couldn't get off your ship or anything like that. You couldn't walk around your ship. There's no hand-to-hand combat. None of that. Yeah, it's just ship combat. Imagine Sea of Thieves, but you were tied to your post. Imagine Assassin's Creed 4, but you're tied to the ship, and that's it.
And it's a shame because it looks beautiful. It looks really nice, but again, this is the Ubisoft thing that I get frustrated. It's like I feel like they always try to catch a wave, and someone saw Sea of Thieves like, yo, we better have one of those. Better have one of those, but lost the soul of why Sea of Thieves is what it is and why it's so fun. You can't just copy because this the next thing. And the same thing I look at, Division and certain other. It's like they try to catch a wave.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it looks good though. To me, it looks.
Oh, you
good,
think it does? Interesting.
I mean, this is a cinematic of boats just in the water, and there's no gameplay. So this is clearly some CGI or cinematic thing that I'm watching right now. But it looks good. It looks like mature Sea of Thieves, but I don't see no gameplay loop. You can't get off the boat, like nah.
Yeah, you can't get off the boat at all. I don't know. To me, it just looks like a game I've already played. Like I'm befuddled that they're taking Black Flag's defining mechanic, and they're literally making a whole game around it. I'm like, I remember when it was revealed, I was like, okay, you're gonna expand on it, right? And then they shrunk it down instead, because if you expanded on it and went, you can leave the boat and you can explore, they're like, yo, we're just making Black Flag again. So instead, you're just gonna shrink it down, force them into the boat, and build mechanics tied to the boat. Like, I guess that could be cool, but like, if you can't get off the boat and you can't do things like you could do in Sea of Thieves, like, I gotta be honest, I'll just put it this way. I'm surprised this game is still in active development.
Yes.
I really thought it would be canceled. I thought they kind of see like, hey, this isn't really separating itself from the bunch. This kind of has the Babylon's Fall energy. Everyone's just waiting for them to give the release date. The review codes come in. We're like, it's disaster time. Where's my controller? All right, like, let's review this pile of shit. Let's see what they got here for us. You're muted, by the way.
Sorry. It just feels like, sync my battleship with different graphics. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
I like the Battleship board game. That shit's fire. I like that.
They got the meter on the boat too. The boat's got the little energy meters and all right. Yeah, I don't know, man.
What is your feeling about Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake? Do you feel like this is time to sound the alarms on this one? This is supposed to come out, I think, early last year, early this year. No, early last year, and it got delayed.
What's going on with that? And I'm a Prince of Persia guy.
Move developers.
Yeah, move developers. It looking a little spooky.
Yeah, they literally. Going from Prince of Persia to Assassin's Creed, it's always fascinating to me because they took so many ideas from Prince of Persia and just put it in a new IP. And obviously, like with the next gen consoles, with the 360 at the time, like they refined some of them. But Prince of Persia Warrior Within, it still to me has some of the most fascinating combat animations, like bouncing off of walls, wrapping around poles, crazy stuff you can do in that game, man. Really cool game. Highly recommend people check it out. HD collection's available on 360 and PS3 if you have the money for it. But I was excited for this remake. I'm kind of disappointed they're dropping the ball on the things that can bring them back, right? Like the Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like, I don't know if anyone ever checked out the leaked gameplay for that. That game looked good, though. That kind of looked like what I imagined Starfield in some levels was going to look like, right? The very active cities, flying around, getting off your little ship and running around. I was like, yo, this looks awesome. I was watching it for a video of mine that I made, the Dark Age of Ubisoft, and I was thinking, like, this looks really different from anything Ubisoft's done, but that's stuck in development hell. Skull and Bones is, Sands of Time is. Not looking good, man.
No, and again, I don't look at them as this attractive entity for acquisition. That's just how I look at it. That's why I said do the Game Pass deal.
Yep. Agreed. So with that, let's move to number 8. Despite much criticism, the Halo TV show is a hit. Paramount recently confirmed that their Paramount Plus subscription service has gained a stunning 6.8 million new subscribers, and revenue grew 148% to $585 million. There were other contributors to the service's success, such as Star Trek Picard and 1883, but Halo is said to have led the charge. All right, Cog.
What's going on?
How you feeling about this one? I didn't think this would have the Witcher effect on the franchise, but it looks like people care about Halo enough to see what this is all about. Bring Paramount Plus up to the big boys like Disney Plus.
You know how I feel about this series, but I will be fair. Episode 5 was by far the best and what I expected initially from this series. Now, I'm not saying it was good. Now, the people who are like, "Oh my God," calm down. It was good. It was
back to business in episode 6.
But it's like, no, 6 is solid.
Okay.
Because what they're doing is, and I'll make it quick, they are my issue, and I said it in my mailbag, is it was just too many of these stupid storylines that nobody care about. Focus on Chief, focus on the US NSC, and come there, and you're gonna be okay. They finally got back to that, and they had a moment. And if I was excellent, I would say if I was good for this series, for me it's above average. It's not excellent the way people are saying, but 6 was solid. They got a good story. I think I know where they might be going now, and finally some damn action. So look, I will say this.
Oh, there has been action. Oh,
bro, it took episode 5. 1 was a little bit and nothing since then, and then 5, and I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, that exact. And I'm like, this is Halo, like really, like
wow.
That's what your face was doing. That was me. Episodes 2 through 4. What are they doing?
Are these episodes an hour long each?
Yeah, like an hour. Nobody. There was one joint where no one shot no one. It was just exposition, and I'm like, what is this? Like, I was disgusted. No one. 2 was like the worst. I was like, I was almost done. I was like, I don't know if I could do this.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I could do this. 3 was 4 was had a little flash here. 5, they put it together. I'm like, okay, this is what I expected. Keep this trajectory, please. Get rid of this other stupid storyline that no one cares about, which they did. And so far in episode 6, I'm not seeing that stupid storyline again. I'm like, okay, if you continue this path, you might be okay. So, but I say all that to say this. As much as I didn't even stand it during 2 through 4, people liked it. People, I got casual people like, oh no, the Halo series is good. I got hardcore people like, oh, the Halo series. So to their credit, they're doing well. You know what I'm saying? They're doing well. I think I can't even say it because people are subscribing. So I can't even say. I thought that it was like 60-40 didn't like it. But I just think the more casual base has outnumbered.
Oh no.
And that don't know about Halo. And they're like, yo, this is some real cool, different, like Discovery Sci-Fi Channel thing or something. So this is cool for them. But yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
I'll keep you posted. But it's the last 2 episodes have definitely gotten better.
I'm definitely gonna watch it for DDU. I'm just deciding when to jump in and seeing it was 9 episodes.
So ready to do that DDU. Let me know when you get it done. No, we gotta
May
get
19th was the last episode that dropped. So I'm gonna start now because the idea of like 9 hours. I feel like I'll be doing the show a disservice if I have to do like 9 hours.
Oh yeah. Don't do it like that. Yeah. You're gonna want to rip your eyes out for certain episodes anyway. So take your medicine early and then get through.
Yeah, because I've been on such an anime groove lately, man. I watched 20 episodes of Attack on Titan season 4 over this past weekend, and it was excellent. So I got to get some bad TV in my DNA now.
Temper your expectations.
Balance it out. I can't just keep consuming all this top tier peak fiction. I need to balance it out a little bit. So I'm going to do just that. All right, number 9. Coming soon to Xbox Game Pass on May 3rd, we're getting Loot River, console, PC, and cloud. May 5th, we get Trek to Yomi and Citizen Sleeper on console, PC, and cloud. May 10th. Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair Anniversary Edition, console, PC, and cloud. Eden Chronicle Rising, console, PC, and cloud. Ain't gonna put your hand up for that. Put that hand down. And then This War of Mine Final Cut, console, PC, and cloud. May 12th, NHL 22, console edition. I gotta say, that was a smart one. Hockey playoffs just began. Good little strategic move by Xbox here to throw that one in there.
And they just did NBA before that.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that one because I watch basketball. Yeah.
Casual systems dream. NBA 2K, NHL 22, Madden, Call of Duty. You're doing it right. This is where they're doing it right, man. This is what the hardcore got to understand. Like, that will bring people to console. Yeah. Trust me.
What's exciting you most on this list? Pick wisely.
Oh, man. I'm the ninja. I gotta go. My heart. Yomi, baby. I played it at PAX. Like, Yomi, let's go. Hearing things. Look out for something from Lords of Gaming. Nice. Just look out for stuff.
Nice. I hope you're enjoying it. I have thoughts on this list, but I think we should just move into our Game Pass back compat pick of the week, shall we?
Yes.
Do you like what I did with the script this week, Cog?
He's so terrible with this. This is evil. If y'all can see what this man did on this script, he knew how I felt about this. And he included me in my picture next to this damn game that I cannot escape. I thought I was done with this. I got people tweeting me.
Really?
Oh yeah, so Cog, you gotta do, because you know you did the first. Now you gotta. I'm like, oh my god, I can't. What game is this, Matty?
Danganronpa 2 is our Game Pass pick of the week. Of course it is. I was looking up pictures of you online for this little thing. For those who want to see it, it's in the Last Stand Media Discord, and it's just a picture of Cog doing an interview and he's pointing. And I'm like, this is perfect. Because my man's like, just like all hyped about this Danganronpa 2 here.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, it was a little dirty, but I thought it was a good joke. And all right, time to remind everybody about why Danganronpa, specifically Cog, has to be reminded here. Why it's one of the GOATs. Why you need to play this game.
Here we go.
Cog trolling aside. Right now, Xbox is making a quiet push on the Japanese front, right? We're seeing them shore up the defenses ever so steadily. We know Soul Hackers 2, niche JRPG, going to be there day one on Xbox. I'm hoping they do a Game Pass deal for that. It's a very quiet game, so this one fits, right? But Danganronpa was quietly added to Game Pass earlier this year. I lost my mind. I forced my co-host to play a little bit of it. He loved it so much, he said, I got to pace myself. I'm not going to play it for a couple months. And so he's like, I'll get back to it. And I was like, perfect, because now here we have Danganronpa 2. Now, I can't talk about the story too much in this one because I don't want to ruin the first one for Cog. So in Danganronpa 2, you're on a tropical island. And they changed some things artistically, like there's a bit of some side-scrolling energy when you're exploring Jabberwock Island. This has a very delightful soundtrack, but the name of the game is still much of the same, right? These teenagers are now trapped on a paradise island, right? They're like, wow, it's beautiful here. Hanakuma shows up. Y'all are going to kill each other. It feels like, oh, we're running it back again. And I remember when I bought this game in 2014 for my PS Vita, my thought process was, how are we going to justify them murdering each other?
Yes.
In a second game.
On an island.
What is the motive here? And I'll put this in all fairness, all right? To me, out of the Danganronpa trilogy of mainline games, there is Ultra Despair Girls, but that's not on Xbox yet. There's Danganronpa 1, 2, V3. I do view, and a lot of people don't agree with this, I do view Danganronpa 2 as the weakest of the bunch. That's where I stand on it. I think it has some of the more frustrating trials. I think there's some instances where the game feels a little slow, like they kind of just want to do another murder game again, which is fine because it's a lot of fun. But I'll say this. As you get to the ending, and it all starts to go down in a 3-hour finale, it's this moment of like, your brain's just exploding, man. This game hits another level. And what I want to just remind people of with Danganronpa, if you haven't taken my suggestion yet, you can start with the first one. You cannot start with the second one. But look, I'm an RPG freak. Y'all know I think I've proven myself as having a good eye for writing in video games. I don't know if Cog agrees.
No, definitely.
Oh, no, sorry about that. Oh, thank you. I was going to say about, I don't know if you agree about what I was about to say, but okay. I thank you for that. I think Danganronpa as a series is one of the best written trilogies you could ask for. Now, again, I don't know if Cog agrees, but I think the writing, the personality, the staying away from a lot of the tropes, I think it does such a good job for a very Japanese-centric game. And the tension is still there. And what makes it kind of uncomfortable in Danganronpa 2 is everything is so beautiful around you that with everyone dying, it's like this, this shouldn't be happening here. What you do lose in translation is Danganronpa 1 has a very claustrophobic feeling. You're in a school, the windows are bolted, there's no escape.
Cameras.
Yeah, cameras everywhere. It's this melding of like a school and a prison, and you're like very uncomfortable, I felt, throughout that whole game. V3, I will just say, does return to that energy. One of the main reasons I really, really, really like that game, beyond its insane plot twist in the beginning.
Which one you have as the best out of 1 to 3?
Back and forth, man. It depends on my mood. You get V3 and Danganronpa 1.
Okay, so you go back and forth.
I'm probably going to say the first one, but I think V3 is one. Not trying to be hyperbolic here. Danganronpa V3, you will never find more bold storytelling in a trilogy than what they do in their third game. Okay. They throw the fucking kitchen sink at you. They don't care. It's on another level. I go hard for this series for a reason. It's because, like, to this day, I'll just throw this out here. This game came out V3 5 years ago. My friends and I still debate the ending. Still. It's that kind of divisive, but it's that, like, thought-provoking. Nothing really, even my beloved Persona, KOTOR, have not had that staying power of, like, character-based motivations and discussions. And what's crazy is none of it's like plot hole stuff. It's just like motivations, purpose, reasoning, that type of stuff. So a phenomenal trilogy of games. The second one is here. This is a reminder, just if you haven't played the first one, give it a shot. If you've played the first one, you finished it, you didn't know about the second one, it is also really good. More of the same. And the character arcs, a lot of people love the characters in Danganronpa 2. They're my least favorite cast, but I'm in the minority on that. A lot of people love Danganronpa 2's cast. So please check that out. If you're going to try to sprint your way to the second game and watch the anime, don't. The anime is terrible. Danganronpa 1. Do not do it. If you did it, you can still play the game and enjoy yourself, but you've done yourself a mighty disservice. So do not do that. Anyway, that's my Game Pass pick of the week. Cog, you gonna give it a download? Have I intrigued you to come back to the right side of history?
Back to the first one.
Yeah. Dude, you got the X screen. Like, this is a Series S dream come true. What pushed you away? Now I gotta press you a little bit. I'm taking offense now.
It's the exposition sometimes. Like, I liked when the murder bear came. I did. Like, I was like, all right, good. Yeah, nobody's leaving. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. All right, damn, it's prison. Okay, cool. But it's like, I don't know. It's just like the main character. Like, it's certain characters I did like. But it was just like certain ones. It's so much exposition, and I was like, can we get to it? Like, it's one of those things.
How far did you get by? Did you finish the first trial?
The first trial, and I'm like, okay, that part was cool. Don't get me wrong. The trials are cool. I struggle with video games that get extra wordy sometimes. Like, they wanna blow
you hate trails. I would never have recommended it to you anyway, but you would hate trails.
Yeah, like this
way more wordy.
Go, and then it's just those type of things. Like, I love what the game is trying to do. I love the idea of it. I do. You know what I'm saying? And I love the setting. I really do. It's just like, can we get to it now? Can we get to it? That's kind of thing. I think that maybe when I go a little farther with it, and it's not as long, so I can finish it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing.
Yeah, you can. They
got me stopping. I was like, my secretary said, check the Yobi's coming out. So
yeah.
I don't know about all this during this period, but we'll see.
It's a good wind down game, Cog. If it's putting you to sleep, 2 hours on the X screen, fired up, coasting to a nice sleep.
Look, man, put me to sleep.
We made a deal, right? We made a deal.
Yeah.
I'll play one of your games. You play one of my games. That's how we're rocking.
Don't do that. Okay.
I'll do that. I'll play a game with you. I'll play ball.
All right. Yeah. We're going to pick one now. Now we're going to pick something.
Okay. Are you picking one right now?
No, we can wait. We can wait.
A surprise attack.
Yeah. Surprise attack for you. No, because you got me with this homework. And you got the community all on me with this. And you got to look at the Last Stand Media Discord right now. Look at the disrespect. Look at all these likes. Look at all this. He got this picture of me pointing to this game like I'm co-signing this with the mic. Oh, the disrespect. Oh, my God. I'm actually going to comment live on this. The disrespect. It is funny. Right? It's wild funny how you did.
I just love how you look so hyped to be like a part of it.
Like, this is what I waited my whole career for.
Yeah.
No doubt. We'll figure it out.
We will. I'm looking forward to your selection. All right. Let's go to our 5 final questions of the episode. Tanker Art writes in, greetings, Dukes. Been listening since episode 1, so you all must be doing something right. Thank you for that. This is my first time on Patreon and writing in. It isn't game related, so I hope it's okay. My girlfriend and I are traveling from the UK to the Big Apple in a couple of weeks, so I wondered if you had any recommendations of places to go, things to do, be aware of, and especially places to eat and drink. I'm a professional saxophone player, so any music-related situations would be hugely appreciated too. We really like doing things more in line with what the locals would do rather than the usual tourist traps and hotspots. So, as I believe you are both NYC boys, I'm looking forward to your input. All the best, and you're listening to a podcast while driving and the audio is unmixed. So you have to turn it up to max and one of the hosts speaks and it's so loud that you yell, swerve, and crash your car kind of day. That's our longest one yet. I had to leave it in there.
Yeah, very specific.
Very, very specific kind of day you're having there, Katanker Art.
Katanker, what we taking them to, man? Where we taking them? Where's the spots?
Yeah, I was running through my head on some of my favorite spots. I don't know Katanker Art's particular taste outside of music. I can't say I've gone to a place specifically for music, so I was like, I'm just gonna recommend them some spots and see. I want to throw out Spyscape.
Heard of it?
Love that place. It's a spy museum, and it's got a really cool aesthetic. It's very like immersive. Like they have this whole surveillance dome that you walk into. There's tons of monitors everywhere, and it's telling a whole story. It's really, really cool. I wouldn't dignify it as a tourist trap, but it's one of my favorite spots that I've been to, and I really did like that one. There's in Brooklyn, you could take a subway to there and check out Industry City, which is like a bunch of warehouses in Brooklyn. And these warehouses have been converted into like abstract art. And they also have like stores that you can go into in there. Like they have a Japanese themed one. I don't know if you like plants. They got a plant-based one. They have a lot of cool stuff there. That would be two off the rip though. Cog, do you have any in mind?
I mean, if he's music, there's a bunch of I don't know if he's a jazz guy, but I thought he said what type of music he said? Saxophone. So maybe he might be like go to hit up Soho. There's a bunch of like really cool swanky joints. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the name of this joint? There was you got the piano bar solo, you got Ronnie Scott. Ronnie Scott's is fire. Also, I like New York like city comedy clubs, like the little walk-in joints. Like, cause sometimes you'll be surprised. Like you'll catch on a random night, dudes like, oh, Chappelle pop by, or this one pop by, you know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. So like those downtown, not too far from Washington Square Park, there's a comedy club over there. Oh man, I'll get the names. And it's really cool. And then also you gotta get yourself a New York slice, like an official New York pizza slice. You know what I'm saying? None of these lasagnas. You need to get the taste of New York for real. You know what I'm saying? Also, there's a spot, if you like pastrami, you know what I'm saying?
You took one from
yeah, you gonna say
you can. It's all
I forgot the name of time. It's not too far from like Carnegie.
Cat's Deli?
Yes,
Carnegie's another one. But
Carnegie's another one. You know what I'm saying? Dude. Do that because we're known for that. So good.
Yes.
But yeah, there's so much, man. So much to do. I'm trying to take you away from like the super touristy stuff.
Yeah.
Those are in the cut kind of things you just gotta do.
Yeah, definitely. If you're going to New York City, have like a general location plan on where you want to go, and then kind of be open to exploring. Like Chinatown is one of my favorite places in New York City, just because I love the aesthetic, but like there are just so many like hole in the wall shops to like sit down and eat. The people are really great. So I just recommend having like a day to kind of explore a spot that you're pretty keen on. Cat's Deli was one though that I was just like, yeah, we gotta throw some food
Cats, you gotta go there.
That is no hyperbole. The best pastrami you can get on this planet. Like,
it's amazing.
Actually, in Madison Square Garden, the Rangers game I was at this year was selling Carnegie's pastrami sandwiches, bro, and I wolfed that thing down.
Killed it, yo. The Carnegie joint, Cats. Man, I was just thinking about something too. Oh, if you're Italian, Mulberry Street, that whole strip where they usually do the Feast of San Gennaro, bro. Woo, all those restaurants, or like little hole in the wall joints. Go to Mulberry Street. I don't know when is he coming?
He said in traveling from the UK to the Big Apple.
To the Big Apple, but it's probably not going to be during feast time. But even when it's not the Feast of San Gennaro, Google Mulberry Street Italian restaurants. you cannot go wrong. I'm talking about this is that authentic. This is that, you know what I'm saying? Give you a price, you know, an offer you can't refuse type situation. And it's just so good. Everything they do. And if you just happen to be in town when it's the Feast of San Gennaro and that whole strip is, and then you got the Italian, what is it, the sausage and peppers and so good. It is it's like a little carnival on the block. The police shut it down. It is so good. I love Feast of San Gennaro. That's one of my favorite. But Mulberry Street, you got to do that.
If you're into golf in the slightest, this might be a very obscure one, but I love Chelsea Pier because they do have a driving range that is just a beautiful view out into the Hudson River, and you just hit some golf balls off literally the top of like a roof, and they play music. They have like a little concessions area. You go there for an hour. They let you rent clubs. You can bring your own. I imagine you don't want to travel from the UK with your own, so you can rent them while you're there. Really cool place. My girlfriend took me there one time for my birthday, and I really did enjoy that spot. So that's another one I'd throw out there.
Yeah, and last thing, I don't know, since it's really not a New York place, not New York-y, but if you like, what is it, Brazilian steakhouse, one of the best is this joint me and Solve go to. It's called, it's at like 48th, I would say, like not too far from Times Square. Churrascaria Plataforma. Oh my God.
Ooh.
The most amazing. Now make sure you gotta bring a little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're gonna learn a secret that we learned about. I ain't gonna spoil it. When you get there, you'll know what it is. They might they actually trade you on what the secret is. But I'm go in there with an empty stomach. Do not eat anything. Go straight there, and I'm telling you right now, you'll be sad. You have to be a meat lover, though. If you're not a meat lover, then it's not for you. But Churrascaria, Plataforma, 48th, and I think like between 9th and 8th or something like that. It's definitely like 48th. Check that out. Really good. Brazilian steak, amazing.
I love the sounds of that.
Yeah, man.
That should be enough for you to get around Katanker. Yeah, you got spots. You got the internet on top of that, so you can start to fill out those spots with other areas. Because, again, with New York City, you're just going to find that there are a lot of things dotted all around. All right, Jake Williams is our next write-in. Hey, Dukes, Overwatch 2 had its first beta last week, and it sounds like it went well. It's interesting that this write-in comes because it said that they lost 99% of their Twitch viewership. My concern is trying to sell Overwatch 2 in the first place. To my understanding, the new changes to multiplayer in Overwatch 2 will be available to anyone who owns Overwatch 1, and the whole game will be on Game Pass at some point. I don't understand why anyone would drop $60 to $70 on Overwatch 2, knowing that they will get the game as part of their subscription in a year's time. This seems like it should have been a Destiny-sized update to Overwatch 1. Unless they ship it as a $20 game, I don't see it doing well on Xbox or PC. What do you guys think of all this? Thanks, and have a forgot your Netflix password kind of day. I had that with my Crunchyroll account. I had to search in my girlfriend and I's texts as like Crunchyroll. I was like, oh, there it is, right? And I like wrote it down. I was like, okay, forgot that one. But Cog, what's your read on the potential success or lack thereof for Overwatch 2?
Well, I didn't get the beta, so I was forced to kind of look at what people were talking about.
Same.
Yeah, man, I didn't get the beta.
Same. Xbox, hurry up. Get that deal done. Get that deal done so I get those perks.
Xbox, what's going on with this? This is not the premium experience. Look, I heard it's split. I've heard different things. I've heard that they've made some fundamental changes that have pissed some people off, you know, from the 6v before, now 5. Yeah. Then I heard the support roles have changed a bit. Now some of the hardcore are like, no, this is for the better of the game. You know, and there's certain metas and things that they didn't like. So they made an adjustment. I'm curious to see how the casual will take to it. I don't know what to think right now. It reminds me like when Destiny 2 came out and they first made some really changes to the meta fundamentally. People are like, whoa, the D1 guys are like, whoa, we're doing double primaries? What are we doing here? Like, what's this? Yeah. No random roles? Like, what are you doing? So it feels like that listening to a hardcore Overwatch guy complain, right? So I gotta see. I'm gonna get into it. Obviously, with the Game Pass, to his question, you know, should it been? Oh, because anyone who owns Overwatch 1, they said he's gonna make the change. What did he say? He said new change.
You get the update for free if you already own Overwatch 1, and then it's available on Game Pass in probably a year or so.
So does it negate the value? I don't know. It remains to be seen. Like,
Mhm.
do we know if there's going to be a separation between 1 and 2 though? Like one players
Yes.
can't. Yeah, you got to have to buy.
The player base will be the same. That's a good question because
Yeah, I'm
actually,
not sure because I wasn't invited.
let me check something real quick.
Yeah, we could research. That's a good question. I don't know if they're updating 1, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they'll be completely compatible.
Oh,
I
they
figured that
are.
was the case, but
That's where they probably fit. That's where the controversy. So they pretty much people are on 1 and like, hey, I could just stay on 1. Why would I even need
well,
to
yeah, because if
buy?
you own one, you upgrade to 2, right?
You
That's the idea.
upgrade to 2. Right,
So
right, 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 right,
if you're
right. Got you.
buying in,
Got you.
mental lapse
Okay.
on our behalf there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
What you
yeah, when
feel?
it comes to getting more people involved, I looked at it and I thought to myself, well, this looks like more of the same. Obviously, it's in the nitty gritty, the meta changes that you can't really tell by just looking at it. Like I think of it this way: like my mind goes to like if I was looking at League of Legends from a bird's eye view, trying to decide if this game was good or not, I wouldn't know until I put my hands on it and felt it. So I can't say whether or not this game will thrive. I do think a lot of Overwatch's success has kind of come and gone. But Overwatch was one of our first strong examples of a game that was really carried by its loot box formula, which then gave us a lot of free content pretty regularly. So um, I guess I'm not too worried that if the game doesn't sell, because there are a lot of people who still love skins. And I hopped back on Overwatch a couple weeks ago, as I talked about on this show, and dude, skins. I didn't talk about those, but the ones I have in there, man. I spent a lot of money on Overwatch 1. I'll concede. I'll concede. And I really like the skins in this game. The personality of these heroes is irresistible.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great game in a lot of respects. But even as somebody who was like, I sank almost 1,000 hours into the game, man. I looked at it. I'm like, I'm not going to spend my money on this. Like, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, if I
Goes your
were
way.
too biased, yeah, it's at this point you've likely tried Overwatch, you know what it is, and 2 isn't this drastic overhaul because they've split the launch now, where its most defining feature to refer to it as 2, the campaign, isn't going to be here until 2023, but they can't afford to wait until then. So they got to split it up, drop the second Overwatch now. And it's going to be overwhelming for a lot of people. And it's annoying because they took a long while to get it out. And there were no new heroes in between then and now. Now we have another new hero announced. And so people are very excited about it. But I can't help but look at it and say, this looks great. Overwatch is a great game, but it looks a little weak right now. I don't
Okay.
want to leap right in. I had the Overwatch bug a couple weeks ago. I was excited for 2. Looked at it. I still want to play it to give it the final call because
Yeah.
again, this is a feel thing, right? I
You
might hop
probably
in and
feel.
change completely and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm all about this. But right now, as it stands, it's like I can go find other things to play. I'm not looking at it saying, yo, this looks like such a reinvention. I gotta get in on that.
Mhm.
The HUD is the biggest reinvention I picked up on just from glancing at it. I'm like, oh, it looks a
Yeah.
little different, but otherwise looks a lot of the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like, subtle stuff behind the scenes. Also, a
Hmm.
lot of information I heard they give you in the game now that they didn't give before. We
Hmm.
got to see. It's one of those things I don't want to make a complete judgment until I actually play. So I'm
Same.
with you on that.
Same. All right. Another item we got here is from Max Scale. Hello, Blasphemous, Matty, and our Lord and Savior Cog Fork Gang represent. What change in the gaming sphere do you guys think will affect games the most? Will it be games needing features present to be considered for Game Pass, like co-op? Will games start to be very front heavy for the first 2 hours of a PS trial? Will we start to see more NFTs be added to games in a post-launch update similar to GT7 and its microtransactions? Or is it a release now and add content later, like Halo? This is a definitely pessimistic thought towards gaming, but with all the cool stuff coming out, I'm brought back down looking at the next gotcha moment to bring it back down. Hope you guys have I got my mac and cheese at KFC, but all they had was a spork kind of day. Hopefully it's our forklift. That's all I'm saying. Hit us up, KFC.
So, yo, we got it. We hooking you up. Yeah, for real.
Mhm.
We need the bag now. Shout out to Max. It's a good question. What's the trend that I most think that will affect games the most? We're on the cusp of NFT. Um, depends on how it is received. The implementation, will something catch on? I'm not there yet. I think it's the live service for me. I think it's the latter, the one where we kind of going through with the Halo Infinite, which is,
I was
oh, we're
thinking the
live
same
service.
thing. I was thinking the same thing.
We're live service, so no matter. We'll fix it as it goes on. It'll get better. It'll get better, y'all. You know, that kind of thing. And that concerns me. And my latter thing would be, my secondary one would probably be, even though I am a co-op guy, I am concerned about single player a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I am concerned that there's not enough revenue stream for these companies to make the single player experience, right? And it's like, oh, you don't have a co-op component. I guess that links to the co-op component thing. And, oh, it's not live service. And, oh, there's no microtransactions. And we can't do is just, you're just going to tell a good story and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy thought.
Corporate con, like, that's all you're going to do is just make a good game and tell a good story and satisfy people for only 8 to 10 hours. And that's it. We're not going to have a 200-hour campaign and skins. And we're not doing that. That's what I worry about. I got to give Sony their flowers in that. To me, they're still upholding a lot of the single player experience. That's why I love my hashtag Just One stuff. You know, and to Microsoft's credit, though, I want to give them credit for like getting a Bethesda, because the hope is now they're preserved, right? Because of this. So that's my things. One to watch, one, you know, even with Starfield, will there be any type of component of anything?
I hope not. They're saying there's no multiplayer of any kind, so I'm hoping it just stays that traditional single player, like no creation club. Just let it be, let it be.
So those are my ones. If I have to rank,
yeah, I would say I'm there with you on like Halo being the most present one that I do think will affect games the most, because we've seen even Nintendo get in on it, like with Wii Sports or whatever, not Wii Sports, Nintendo Switch Sports. I watched my friend play. They got like their own battle pass in there. It has like 6 modes. And it's the same thing they did with Mario Golf last year. Like Mario Golf was an amazing infrastructure. There was a lot of fun in it. Needed more courses. And they gradually added course after course after course up until the beginning of this year. When they got rolling, they kept it pretty regular. But the reality is, like, it came out kind of bare bones. And Nintendo's been doing that a lot lately. And now we see it with Halo, and we're going to continue to see it, I think. So I believe it's the most immediate one. We'll throw a little bit of a curveball here, though. I'm a little worried about the PS Plus trials, because what I've been told is this could be any section of the game. However, I want to roll us back a number of years ago to when you would play a game in like the early 2010s, and you could tell what the E3 demo level was. You knew there was you had a nice stabilized level of quality, and then suddenly, whoop, up it went. And this level just felt built different than the rest. Now, I'm not complaining about when we get something better, but then you go back, business as usual, business as usual, business as usual, till the end. Or sometimes it's just a steep decline because you just put all your resources in this one E3 demo to convince press, to convince everyone, check this thing out. Again, we are hearing that these PS Plus trials are going to be things that you take, and you could put whatever 2-hour section of the game that you want. Probably most people want the beginning. So when you buy the game, you'll be able to just, I think, pick up where you left off. We'll see on that. But what you're going to see is when they pick that trial section, clean it up heavily. Make sure it's polished beautifully, because that's potential sales there when someone gets to play that. And to me, is that concerning? No, but I do think it distracts the overall focus on the entire game when you're looking at one area of the game, making sure like that's pixel perfect. And you start to get that kind of quality output in 2013 where it's like you get some real hits, you get some misses, though, some big misses that just feel like you look. I think a Thief 2014 is the perfect example. When I saw that E3 demo, COG, I've never been more all in. I was like, this is the Dishonored kind of game I've been looking for. That isn't Dishonored. I was like, all right, I'm about this one. And and you play in the beginning of the game is these like disjointed levels, no real exploration, very clunky AI. Then you get to the E3 level. It's open. There's tons of options, places to go through, things to steal, people and things to interact with. I'm like, yo, this is amazing. You leave that level and it's back to that missions 1 through 3 again. You're like, yo, what game did y'all sell me on, right? And we know Ubisoft is guilty of that big time. There's a whole video just showing their E3 presentations versus the final product. I just feel like PS trials can have the potential to turn into a bigger problem.
I
think with co-op, Xbox has seemed to have their. I worry about that they're kind of like saying we're not trying to push co-op as like we talked to Graham Smith and he's like, yeah, they said Nobody Saves the World could do pretty well with co-op, huh? How about this? And I don't know if it aided the game or not, really, in the sense of like not its quality, but sales and helped Game Pass out. But Xbox has a vested interest in getting co-op. And I feel like so far they haven't destroyed a game over it, where I feel like PS Plus trials can run the risk of distracting teams.
Valid point. There's definitely concern with the industry, with the development time, the resources, and whether it positively affects or negatively affects. If the vertical slice doesn't do what it intended to do, and now people are like, hey, I don't know if I'm that interested in the game anymore. And it just kind of, the E3 thing kind of resonated with me because it reminds me of like in the music business where it's like a new artist. You're like, oh man, they got the hot single. You're like, oh, I'm in on this artist. Like that song is hot. Then you get the album. You're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like tracks, the rest of the track, you're like, damn, all of your hot joints was the single and that was it. Like I've had those moments, right? So you wonder if that has that effect and how it affects devs. And I do think it's something we gotta watch how they implement that and how this is going to affect the requirement, right? Looks like it's going to be mandatory and stuff. Yeah, something to watch.
So we'll see. Giovanni D'Amico is our next write-in. Hey guys, if you were to be stranded on an island for 5 years without internet, what console or handheld would you bring? Assume that you have access to the entire library of games. Is there a system with a backlog where you always wish you could devote more time, or would you just replay your old favorites for nostalgia? What are you thinking, Cog?
It's a trick question for me. Shout out to Giovanni, good dude. Giovanni, good dude on Twitter. I want to say a throwback joint, but I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna surprise everyone.
Oh,
again, his statement was assuming that you have access to the entire library of games.
Okay,
I'm gonna say the Series X.
Oh,
I'm gonna say the Series X because it gives me all the old stuff for the most part that I want to play. And let's be real, backlogs these days are there's so many games I need to finish. I need to play. Dang it, around. Phoenix. If I'm on an island with Series X and all these games that need to be finished and all these additions and all these things that are Game Pass, again, assuming that I can play my Game Pass games offline, right? Because that was the caveat. If there was a way to play all this stuff that did not require the online thing, because that's the only holdup. There is a plethora of games to play and backlog to do. So yeah, like I think it is the series in that sense. And that's why Xbox fans are excited this gen, because if the first party games and the things that's going to give identity to Series X later in the generation hit as expected, this could potentially be Xbox's greatest console of all time.
I agree. I am going to say the PlayStation 2.
Ooh, that's hard. I like that.
I feel like the library is big enough to hold me over for 5 years. Absolutely. I think that since these games were built without updates in mind, that I'm going to get more complete experiences, even if some of these games are shorter and a little jankier. I feel like without the internet, I'll have the ability to like have those multi-day boss fights where I'm like, how do I get through this thing? Right? You can't just look up a walkthrough. I feel like this is the way I get the most out of my library, right? This is the way I survive with some level of sanity while I'm stranded on this desert island that somehow has electricity enough for me to play a video game console. That would be my pick. I just think the PS2 library is huge. In my personal game collection, that's my biggest part of my collection is my PlayStation 2. I love that system. It's one of my favorites ever. So easy pickings for me, man. The exclusives are great. Everything about it is great.
Arguably the greatest PlayStation of all time. Like PS2 is just dominant. Love the choice. Great choice.
And that brings us to our last question for the show, Cog. Zachary Bryan writes in, what up, Dukes? This week, I'll ignore the anti-croc propaganda being thrown out there and ask, what are your favorite video game songs? Cog gave an amazing recommendation for Chow Time from Streets of Rage 4. It has since been jolted into my playlist. Have a Viva la Croc kind of day.
Yo, man, cover
I gotta
them
start editing
toes.
these more. Yeah.
Yeah, cover them toes, man. Your toes is
Yeah.
out. You looking crazy out here.
You're gonna get dewy toes if you walk your dog at night. That's what I'm saying.
And Matty on expose them hard bottom. You make sure your soles are right. Put some ointment on you. Let me stop. Shout out to Zachary. He be on Twitter too. Yeah, I gave you a gem. I gave you that Streets of Rage Child Time. I gave you a banger. Look, anything Tekken me hitting me hard. So I love that techno up tempo stuff from that. I'm gonna go. Let me see. There's I'm gonna surprise. I'm gonna throw. You know what joint is crazy? You're not a 7 guy, right? You're not a 7 guy like that, right?
Tekken 7?
No, a Final Fantasy 7 guy like that.
Oh no, I love Final Fantasy 7. Yeah.
Have you listened? You beat Remake or you played Remake?
Yeah.
Okay. You hear that Sephiroth theme?
Oh yeah.
Bruh.
Oh yeah.
And they saying his name during the joint? Sephiroth. I'm like, yo, what is happening? It's like like the Philharmonic Orchestra came out for one game. I'm like, what is going on with this? That joint is crazy. And when that beat hit, when you fight him towards the end,
yes,
that battle was crazy. Fun story, real quick. Do you know how this is one of the stupidest things I've ever did? I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, and you know how you have all the magic, like Cura, this, that, and then you upgrade it, right?
Yeah.
Do you know my stupid self did not realize that when you selected it during the fight, you have to move it to the side to select the stronger version of each healing. I'm playing.
You're like using Cure.
Oh, I'm fighting him, healing every 5 seconds. He's lashing me. Like every 5 seconds, I'm waiting for the ATB ball. Like, please. My man was like, yo, you didn't know that you had to. I didn't know that.
Oh, man. You were playing on hard mode the whole game without even knowing it.
I'm a beast in Final Fantasy VII because I beat that man with all base levels.
Wow, you did it with it? Wow.
All base level materia, all spells base level. I didn't realize I was supposed to move the thing over to get the later version that gives you more health, more thing. That's another story. But yeah. So that's my greatest accomplishment, getting that one beat.
That's impressive, man.
Bro, Sephiroth drove me crazy. It broke me. I was like, I'm never going to beat him. And I buckled in. I had my thumb ready every 5 seconds to heal. And I beat him. But that music, so I gotta give that's classic. I got that 7 remake. Those beats is rocking to me. A lot of those, and of course the classic. The battle. Let the battle begin. What? When that hit, and you see your man that you hit the summon, you feel away. Like you feel different. No, what? 7 is my heart. I'm always gonna ride 7. Anyway,
yeah. 7's incredible. I think I told you this, but I'll say it again. We lately bought Final Fantasy 7 at PAX and we threw it into my PS2 just to make sure it works, man. And like that game still has a tone at the start that's just like it's unlike anything else.
Just when it starts, feels
iconic video game.
Iconic. Give me yours.
So many as a Persona fan. There's just so many.
Let's go.
It depends what kind of song Zachary's thinking about here. Like, if we're talking just the background ambient music, like I think of Manon and KOTOR, where I'm just like, that's just a peaceful, beautiful, blissful song. But if we're talking like the action's picking up, it's time to get going, fights happening, gotta go with Persona, man. Like the final battle in Persona 3 with the Hymn of the Soul playing, incredible. But Persona 5, Rivers in the Desert, is one of the sickest tracks. I'm telling you, Cog, that's in your gym playlist, Persona fan or not. Like that is once you hear the "A river in a dry land," it just you feel something special. And especially when you're in the boss fight, because in the boss that happens, I'll just say this. It starts orchestraic, right? And you're like, oh, this is a good beat. Oh, I like this. I remember like it's a 2-phase boss fight. You get to phase 2, and suddenly like the chorus kicks in, you're like, oh! It was the surprise. I was playing, it was like 5 a.m. and I was like, oh! whoa, I did not see that coming at all. So yeah, there's memories there, but I think individually, incredible boss track there. Nier Automata is loaded up with some of the best video game music. Kingdom Hearts, I'm going to shout out. Kingdom Hearts has some really, really good music, like simple and clean. That's a bop, man. You can hate the story all you want. Their music does not miss. That's the one consistent thing about that series is the music. So JRPGs, man, they just got the best music in the industry, really. And then Fallout ambient tracks.
Of course.
Just the resting, rustic tracks of Einon Zur. Something about them that I think it's because it reminds me of 2015. That was just a great year. It really was. And good times for me and my community. And so when I hear the Fallout ambient soundtrack, sometimes I prefer it over like the actual 50s music because it's like brings you back in a special way. But that's personal preference.
I would be remiss and thrown out of my own community if I didn't mention this. As much as people give Destiny crap, the music in Destiny is outstanding. 2 standouts. I gotta give Last Wish Raid, Riven. Everyone that knows me knows that it is just this symphonic. Dun, 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 dun. It's a guitar riff, dun, 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 and you're coming out with this heart, and you just killed this dragon. You're in the belly of the beat. One of the most epic soundtracks going.
I want to play this game so bad because of you. I just need that vault.
It's gunplay. The reason why people are addicted, it's gunplay, almost perfect budget, and music and skybox. That's why we are addicted. That's why we can't let it go. We just can't replicate this combination. But they don't get their flowers with soundtrack. I will say, there's a song in Curse of Osiris, which is actually not one of the greatest DLCs content-wise, but song-wise, because it's a very Egyptian motif, and I'm a big Osiris fan, and I believe it's called the Tree of Probability. It is some Egyptian joint that sounds outstanding. Like Destiny music is just, shout out to Michael Salvatore, shout out to my boy, why am I forgetting his name? We had him on, why am I forgetting? Sky Lewin, we had him on The Last Word. These are just legends in the game, man. It's truly amazing what Destiny music is. It really, they don't get their flowers enough.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited I'm confident they'll remove that fault. And when they do, I'll be there. I'll see you there. That'll be the game you force me into.
Yes. With the vault.
How far would you have to push me for that, by the way, hypothetically speaking? Like, we talk, like, how deep would I have to go for you to feel satisfied?
But you'd have to do a campaign and you'd have to do a raid. Because to me, the campaign, Witch Queen campaign, I know you'd love. You would be like, oh, I was wrong. Like, this is fine, right? But raid, the only thing about this raid is just so much symbols and memorization crap. The raid is great. It's just for a new guy to come into this raid, I wouldn't, say there's other raids I would have you do, but you do need to just experience a raid. 6 of us. All right, Matty, this is what you do. You got your okay, you stay here. Me and you, we gonna focus on this totem here, and we gonna do and all right, cool. You take care of that. Like, it's something with that communication of 6. It's a brotherhood, and the puzzles in the game doesn't tell you. So those would be the 2 things. But we'll figure it out. Since I gotta do this thing.
Right. All right. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 70 of Defining Duke and Xbox podcast. Cog, how do we do?
So it's a lot. This was a lot. First of all, it was a fantastic episode. I'm trying to think of this hashtag because, man, we hit it all so much. We hit the embracing joint.
I really went hard for Square Enix.
Yeah, the Square Enix joint was hard. I mean, you want to embrace the DD or you want to...
that's good. Embrace the DD. That's a really good one.
Embrace the DD right here. Like, this was... A lot of people were in their feelings when this came out, Square Enix, let's do it.
Of course, embrace the DD. That's the hashtag this week. Hit us up on Twitter with not pictures of your food because y'all have been literally sending me that all week, and I've just been unsolicited, by the way. I'm just attacking the fork users, but I did not ask to see your meals. Send them anyway. So the hashtag is embrace the DD without your food pictures.
Yes.
Let me at G27status and him at Lord Cognito know what you thought of this episode. Of course, any feedback is much appreciated. If you don't use Twitter, that's fine. Comments in the video are more than appreciated, as are the Patreon post. With that, Cog, any closing thoughts for this episode, or is it another one in the books?
Another one in the books, man. A great episode, great writings, y'all. This was fun.
Absolutely. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're inching closer to the Xbox Bethesda showcase, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for episode 71. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.